Chapter 260. In the 10x room of vigor numbered 765. Xiaofan's entire head glowed with a dazzling radiance. This was a phenomenon that would only occur when one's mental energy reached a certain level. Right now, Xiaofan's mental energy combined into one. His aura was boundless and sharp, as he attempted to forcefully open the 41st acupoint and ascend to the 5th stage of true qi. Xiaofan's mind was resolute. He would die 9 times without regrets. He held his breath and attempted to open the 41st acupoint for the 3rd time. At this moment, the word failure did not exist in Xiaofan's mind. He had the conviction that he would win. Boom! This conviction turned into a surging torrent that forcefully opened the acupoint. In addition, the mental energy in his brain grew stronger and stronger. Within his strong body, blood and qi boiled, laying a solid foundation for the next acupoint opening. Inside the spirit house, some of Xiaofan's body cells, which were normally inaccessible to his mental power, were now filled with mental power, constantly nourishing his body's vitality. Open. I, Xiaofan, am at the 5th stage of true qi. Xiaofan roared like a wild beast. It was like a giant hammer hammering down on the 41st acupoint. Rumble, finally, following Xiaofan's roar, the 41st acupoint opened. In an instant, Xiaofan's entire aura had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. His mental energy had reached a whole new level. In terms of true qi cultivation, he had reached a whole new level, the 5th stage of true qi. 41 acupoints opened throughout his body. He could store even more true qi. Furthermore, his state of mind, thoughts, and reaction speed had greatly improved as well. Streams of qi shot out from Xiaofan's 41 acupoints. Xiaofan's sleeves fluttered, and his black hair fluttered despite the absence of wind. His surroundings were filled with the aftershocks of true qi. Phew! I finally succeeded. I have reached the 5th stage of true qi. However, I knew that the 5th stage of true qi was nothing special. Seriously speaking, this was also a foundation for breaking through to the 6th stage of true qi. To pave the way for the expanded acupoint realm. To truly open the 51st acupoint. To start expanding the acupoint. In terms of martial arts. Only then would one be able to completely open up a whole new world, allowing one to become a whole new person. Alright, there's still time. I will continue to explode my acupoints. I believe that with my accumulation, my true qi cultivation will not stop here. Continue cultivating. Xiaofan calmed his heart and tossed the small joy of successfully ascending to the 5th level of true qi to the back of his mind. His entire person became indifferent to both praise and humiliation. He continued to work hard and continued to burst his acupoints. However, after reaching the 5th stage of true qi, every subsequent acupoint that Xiaochen tried to break through became much more difficult. It was no longer as easy as before, as if he was breaking through a hot knife through butter. Xiaofan failed dozens of times when trying to break through the 42nd acupoint. Fortunately, he was a patient person, and he was unyielding. In the end, he managed to break through the bottleneck and opened the 42nd acupoint. Xiaofan was fully immersed in cultivation, not daring to slack off or be half-hearted. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the 2 days had passed. The right to use the House of Psyche was only left with a few hours. However, at this moment, Xiaofan had already broken through 50 acupoints in a swift and fierce manner. Peak of the 5th stage of true qi. He was just a single step away from reaching the expanded acupoint realm, the Dan 6 Danzhenqi realm. As long as Xiaofan broke through the 51st acupoint, he would be able to do it for the first time. However, Xiaofan knew himself best. When he tried to break through the 51st acupoint, he was met with setbacks time and time again. Every attempt ended in failure. Furthermore, this kind of failure was not by a narrow margin, but a complete failure. A complete and utter failure. This was a kind of hopeless failure. In fact, every time he failed, Xiaofan would feel a sense of wholeheartedly accepting of his defeat. Finally, Xiaofan stopped breaking through his acupoints. Looks like my foundation and accumulation have been completely exhausted. The oil is dry. Because when I was trying to break through the 51st acupoint, I was in a state where I had no direction and no confidence at all. It was like a blind man floating in the vast ocean, filled with boundless fear and helplessness. It seemed that from the 50th acupoint to the 51st acupoint, it was only a step away. However, when one reached this step, one would know how difficult it was to take this step. This step was a heavenly chasm. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens, like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, Xiaofan understood in his heart. However, he was not the least bit depressed or aggrieved. He could not blame the heavens or anyone else for this, it was because he had not accumulated enough. In the entire world of chivalry, there were not many expanded acupoint realm chivalry. Those who could reach the expanded acupoint realm were all overlords and all-powerful. On the chivalry ranking, they would definitely be ranked within the top 5,000, or even the top 4,000. Top of the world. Even Dong Fong Qin and Fong Ling, who held high positions in the same sect, were not able to reach the expanded acupoint realm. This was enough to prove that it was indeed rare for someone to ascend from Dan 5 Dan to Dan 6 Dan. If Xiaofan succeeded in breaking through so easily, it would not make sense. My accumulation has been exhausted, and not a single drop is left. I will not break through the 51st acupoint now. When I go out to train and accumulate more foundation, I will come back to break through the acupoint. Even if I were to enter the 100 times spirit room now, it would definitely be a waste. Without foundation, no matter how strong my spiritual sense is, I will not succeed. Forget it, Zhang Xian decided to stop cultivating his Zhenqi. To be able to cultivate to the pinnacle of Zhenqi 5 Dan, from opening 36 acupoints to opening 50 acupoints, was already a huge improvement. Let's not waste the remaining time, I will polish my saber intent. Xiaohan's body did not move an inch. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, an invisible but substantial saber chi rushed out from Xiaohan's body. Although there was no saber in his hand, the unrestrained release of saber intent made Xiaohan's entire aura become fierce and domineering, as if it could pierce through everything. The air around Xiaohan's body. Zigzag ripples were cut out. Once the saber intent was released, it was like a peerless evil dragon had appeared out of nowhere, tyrannical and arrogant. Xiaofan had an intermediate saber intent. However, after the Southern Region qualifier of the Hex Hero trial, Xiaofan had hardly used his saber intent. It was not to say that the intermediate saber intent was not strong. Strictly speaking, a mid-stage saber intent was already enough to make one's name known throughout the land. However, the intermediate saber intent also depended on the cultivation of true qi, as well as the strongest saber arts and saber techniques. Xiaohan's true qi was too weak, so that the intermediate saber intent could not exert much power. Now, Xiaohan had become a chivalry against other chivalry. Or when he was a demon emperor, his true qi was thin and his true qi realm was low. So that the intermediate saber intent could not cause any pressure to the opponent. After all, the higher the true qi realm, the stronger the defense, the faster the thinking and reaction speed, and the smarter the brain. Xiaohan's true qi foundation was not strong enough. Even with the intermediate saber intent, his opponent could easily dodge or even destroy the saber intent attack. Now, for Xiaohan, to make the saber intent one of his trump cards again, there were two ways. One was to improve the true qi realm, practice advanced saber arts, and then integrate the intermediate saber intent into every move. The second was to comprehend the saber intent of the Great Accomplishment stage. The saber intent of the Great Accomplishment stage could generate natal saber qi in the body. This saber qi was purely a combination of spiritual strength and soul strength. It could kill people with a thought, completely ignoring the difference in levels and the amount of true qi. It could kill people of a higher level as easily as drinking water or eating. A natal saber qi could kill the enemy within 1,000 miles. Even the space crystal wall could be directly cut. This was the so-called breaking the void. The saber dominates the world, and the 6 paths are all destroyed. I have to slowly practice the saber art, and then integrate the saber intent into every move perfectly. This will take a lot of time. I might as well try to comprehend the saber intent of the great accomplishment stage. Xiaofan had his own plan in mind. However, the saber intent was invisible. It was extremely difficult to comprehend the saber intent of the great accomplishment stage. One could not follow the diagram, but could only rely on a moment of enlightenment. It was something that could only be encountered. But Xiaofan had a trick. Xiaofan had obtained a secret skill on a seal on the surface of the demon egg. 7-fragment saber technique. This 7-fragment saber technique was the supreme secret of the saber Dao. Among them, the 4th move of the 7-fragment saber technique. Emotion-shattering move, the 5th move. Desire-shattering move. Once these 2 moves were cultivated to perfection, the saber intent of the great accomplishment stage would be comprehended. This was something to follow. 7 emotions. Joy, anger, sorrow, joy, love, evil, desire, 6 desires. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. After shattering the 7 emotions and 6 pleasures, Xiaochen casually chopped out with his saber, forgetting about the 7 emotions and 6 pleasures, forgetting about victory and defeat, forgetting about honor and disgrace. He poured out all his energy, battle intent, and saber intent in an instant, making this saber strike flawless and pure. It would reach the realm of transcendence. Its power would be tremendous. One could become a sage and go against the heavens. One could also produce natal saber qi in one's body, which was the great accomplishment of the saber intent. In his previous cultivation, Xiaofan had only shattered the joy and anger of the 7 emotions, as well as the eyes and ears of the 6 desires. After that, he did not move forward. Now, while he was in the spirit house, his mind was flawless and sharp. Xiaofan could continue to cultivate the 7-fragment saber technique and try to shatter the 7 emotions and 6 desires. In an instant, a stunning saber glow appeared around Xiaofan's body. There were also faint saber lights and sword shadows, and a murderous aura. Pft! The saber qi that lingered around Xiaofan's body suddenly burst out with a hearty shattering sound. The sorrow of the 7 emotions was shattered by Xiaofan's mind. Pft! Immediately after, the music of the 7 emotions was shattered. Pft, pft, the nose and tongue of the 6 desires were shattered one after another. Xiaofan's saber qi, saber force, and saber intent all rose. However, at this moment, Xiaofan's reaction speed, spiritual sense, perception, and judgment all froze and slowed down. The talismans that were falling like snowflakes in the spirit house disappeared in an instant. All the superimposed effects on his mental strength disappeared. Xiaofan was beaten back to his original state. The halo of mental strength that was released from his brain also dimmed and extinguished. 2 days had passed. Xiaofan's cultivation time was over. Phew! Xiaofan let out a mouthful of turbid air and opened his eyes. A stunning saber light flashed, like a bolt of cold lightning in the dark night. In the next moment, Xiaofan stood up and stretched. He retracted his aura and concealed his saber qi and saber intent. 2 days of cultivation have passed without me noticing. I'm really reluctant. In these 2 days, not only did my true qi cultivation reach the peak of the 5th stage, I also opened 50 true acupoints. Moreover, my 7-fragment saber technique has also improved tremendously. I'll head out now and accumulate my contribution points properly. The more, the better. The next time I enter the House of Vigor, I'll attempt to break through the 51st acupoint. Furthermore, I'll shatter the remaining love, evil, and lust out of the 7 emotions, as well as the body and will out of the 6 desires. That way, I'll be able to produce my natal saber chi and comprehend saber intent to greater success. In terms of cultivation, Xiaofan's goal was very clear. He was not going to ride a horse blindly. Xiaofan let out a mouthful of turbid air and left the spirit house. On the 29th floor of the Wuxia tower. The environment was comfortable and fragrant. It was a quiet and pleasant resting area. In one of the private rooms, Wu ***, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling were sitting in the private room. They were smiling and chatting. 2 days have passed. Junior brother Xiaofan should be coming out of the spirit house and ending his cultivation. This time, junior brother Xiaofan is mainly cultivating his true qi in the spirit house to increase his true qi realm. I wonder how many true acupoints have been opened in junior brother Xiaofan's body. Sect Master, what do you think? Dongfang Qin looked at Wu *** curiously. Fang Ling also looked at Wu ***. Wu *** pondered for a while and smiled. There's no harm in making a guess. Xiaofan's body was as strong as the sea. In the Hex Hero preliminaries, he had overcome many obstacles and obtained the toughening of his mind and spirit. The battle with the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor had even transformed his soul and greatly stimulated his life potential. It could be said that Xiaofan had accumulated a lot. Now, these accumulations would burst out all at once and feed back to Xiaofan. It would be very beneficial. Before Xiaofan entered the spirit house, he had opened 36 true acupoints in his body. After cultivating in the 10-time spirit house for 2 days. I guess that Xiaofan has at least opened 10 acupoints. In other words, he should be in the middle stage of true qi stage 5 now with 46 true acupoints opened in his body. This Sect Master, the 41st true acupoint is a threshold. Moreover, from 41 to 50 true acupoints, the difficulty of opening each acupoint will increase. I conservatively estimate that junior brother Xiaofan should have opened 43 true acupoints. Fang Ling said solemnly. I'm very optimistic about junior brother Xiaofan. I'll be more optimistic and guess 1 more acupoint than Sect Master. Junior brother Xiaofan has opened 47 true acupoints. Dongfang Qin said happily. That's not possible. Fang Ling frowned slightly. Alright, Xiaofan has sent a message to me that he has come out of seclusion. Now, let's ask this kid to come over. Let's see with our own eyes how far he has cultivated. Is it 43, 46, or 47? Ha ha ha. Wu *** stood up. Chapter 261. Xiaofan stepped out of the House of Psyche. After communicating with Crow King, he was teleported to the resting area on the 29th floor of the Wuxia Tower. Right now, Xiaofan was at the pinnacle of Dan 5 Xinqi. Once he accumulated enough foundation, he would definitely be able to expand his acupoints. Compared to 2 days ago, he was like a completely different person. His spirit and aura were refreshed, giving off the feeling of a soaring spirit. His eyes seemed to be as gentle as water, but there was an occasional flash of light, containing an aura that would not tolerate any blasphemy. Moreover, the psychological trauma that the supreme mental energy fluctuation had caused to Xiaofan had already faded a lot. This caused Xiaofan's heart to be as clear as the sky. Xiaofan walked into the private room on the 29th floor of the Wuxia Tower. Wu ***, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling all rushed forward at the same time. Their mental energy swept across Xiaofan's body. They wanted to see how many true meridians Xiaofan had opened. As for Xiaofan, he did not use the spirit turtle's true qi to hide himself either. This allowed Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling to see through Xiaofan's true qi cultivation. What? Pinnacle of true qi stage 5, opening 50 acupoints in your body? Wu Yu was the first to speak. What followed was the sound of Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling gasping. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling were both at level 5 True Qi realm. In the past few years of cultivation and accumulation, they had also opened the 50th True Acupoint and were coveting the 51st True Acupoint. They wanted to break through in one go and ascend to the heavens in a single bound. However, their foundation and accumulation were far from enough. They could only watch from the sidelines and could do nothing about it. Who would have thought that in just a few short years, Xiaofan, who used to be a dumb living target, would suddenly change? His Jinqi realm was on par with the two of them. He had also opened 50 acupoints at the peak of level 5. Unexpected, unexpected. Junior brother Xiaohan, you are so fierce. When I guessed that you had opened 47 true meridians, it was already a bit of an exaggeration. I didn't expect you to actually go one step further and reach the point of opening 50 true meridians. Now, you can plan to expand your meridians. Junior brother Xiaohan, you are truly a heaven-sent genius. I'm really impressed by your talent. Dongfang Qin clicked his tongue. Xiaohan, you've accumulated too much. He had to accumulate enough. Only then would he be able to seek a breakthrough in the house of hyperactivity. I've underestimated you. Fang Ling was also deeply shocked. Peak of True Qi Stage 5. Wu Yu gave Xiaohan a deep look. Xiaohan. Come on. I am optimistic that you will be able to expand your meridians within 3 years. Sect Master, disciple just tried to break through the 51st acupoint. However, his foundation was simply not enough. It seemed that he would have to go through some twists and turns. But I'm not in a hurry. With enough accumulation, success would naturally follow. Without enough accumulation, no matter how hard one tried, it would be useless. A blind man trying to light a lamp is a waste of wax, Xiaohan said calmly. Yes, expanding acupoints is no small matter. Don't be impatient. Wu Yu gestured for Xiaohan to sit down. They sat down again. Xiaohan, Dongfang, Fang Ling. The three of you are currently at the pinnacle of Duan 5 Jinqi, and you have opened 50 acupoints. Expanding acupoints is a matter of urgency. Now, all of you, listen up. Crow's tone also became serious. The three of them held their breaths. In this world, there are many martial artists who cultivate true qi. A portion of them can reach the pinnacle of Duan 5 Jinqi, but to take the next step, to open the 51st acupoint and start expanding acupoints, they are as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Now, I will tell you that what you need to do now is to accumulate. Desperately accumulate. Through endless battles to hone your spirit, and spirit, through endless amounts of sacred medicine to nourish your body and meridians, meditation, enlightenment, fighting with demons, studying martial techniques, and so on. All of these are accumulations. You might be able to successfully accumulate before expanding acupoints, or you might not have any hope for your entire life, Wu Yu said with assurance. This process of accumulation is extremely important. It affects the result of the first expansion. In the expanded acupoint realm, the first expansion, which is also the opening of the 51st acupoint, is especially important. Frankly speaking, after reaching the expanded acupoint realm, the result of the first expansion could directly determine one's future prospects. Without a doubt. If the first acupoint expansion could only expand by 1 or 2 times, then the second, third, and even the 10th acupoint expansion would not have much of an improvement. It is impossible to expand the acupoint by 1 time and 10 times the second time. On the other hand, if the first expansion exceeds 10 times, then the second, third, and even the subsequent expansion will not be too weak. Sect leader, I understand. The first expansion can determine one's future achievements. Xiaohan understood. Then, sect leader, if the first expansion exceeds 10 times, then you are practically a genius, right? If the first expansion exceeds 10 times, then you are a genius among geniuses. You are destined to shine brightly in the future, and your name will shake the world. Wu Yu nodded seriously. When Ming Chu first expanded his acupoint, it was only 7 times, not more than 10 times. But Ming Chu was already an outstanding figure in the entire Yaoxia world. In this 10-year holy war, if Ming Chu is willing to participate, then his ranking will move up. Wu Yu smiled slightly. Xiaofan, I have told you that in this world, if a martial artist can expand the acupoint by more than 50 times in the expanding acupoint realm, he is already a genius and can be called a king. If it can reach 80 times or 90 times, then it is absolutely heaven-defying. Furthermore, according to my sect's experience, the second expansion is almost always weaker than the first. The third expansion is also almost always weaker than the second. Each expansion is weaker than the previous one. Therefore, I will say that the first expansion is very important, and it can determine one's future achievements. The more times the acupoint is expanded, the more benefits you will get when qi is condensed into talismans. Deciding the number of acupoints for the first expansion depends on your current accumulation. You must accumulate enough to break through the 51st true acupoint. Don't break through rashly. If you accumulate enough to barely meet the requirements to break through the 51st true acupoint, even if you break through, it is only 1 or 2 times, which is meaningless. You are destined to be a stepping stone in the expanding acupoint realm. Do you understand? Wu Yu said solemnly. Understood. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling exchanged glances. They nodded at the same time. Fu sect leader, fortunately I did not blindly break through just now, otherwise, as you said. Even if I break through the 51st true acupoint, it will be in vain. If the first expansion is only 1 time, then every subsequent expansion will be worse than the previous one. When I reach the peak of the expanding acupoint realm, I can only expand 10 times at most, which is really meaningless. It will make people laugh at me. Well, from now on, I will slowly accumulate. At all costs. I must strengthen my foundation. Only when I have enough capital will I break through the 51st true acupoint. Hee. Let's see if I can be on par with eldest senior brother in the first expansion. Xiaofan, based on your current situation, as long as you are calm and accumulate well, it is not impossible to surpass the beginning of Ming dynasty. Who knows, you might be able to achieve 10 times the number in your first attempt. In the history of the entire Xianxia world, you will be one of the best. At that time, the higher-ups of the Xianxia pagoda will definitely do their best to cultivate you. 10 times. Xiaohan's eyes flashed with a hint of hope. Junior brother Fang Ling, let's not be too lazy and accumulate well. Well, from tomorrow onwards, we will work together to take on missions and participate in all kinds of life and death battles with the demon clan. Although our aptitude is not as good as junior brother Xiaofan, as your senior brother, we can't fall too far behind, right? Ha ha ha. Dongfang Qin laughed out loud. There was no jealousy in his expression. Yes, we should all work hard. If we don't reach the expanding acupoint realm, this life will be in vain. Fang Ling's eyes were firm. You guys work hard. Wu Xiao smiled and nodded. At this moment, there was a knock on the door outside the private room. Brother Wu Xiao, are you here? A man's voice with an ethereal charm sounded outside the private room. Mu Zishi? Wu Xiao's expression changed slightly, and he could not help but stand up. With a wave of his sleeve, the door of the private room opened. Brother Mu, rare guest, really rare guest. Immediately, Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling also stood up at the same time. Junior brother Xiaohan, the person who came is Mu Zishi, a tyrannical figure on the demon hero ranking. He is only 1 step away from the ranks of the ancient giants. His cultivation is unfathomable. In his life, he has encountered countless fortuitous encounters and killed countless demon clan. His luck is overwhelming and he is a legend. In the 4 regions, all living beings have even built many holy temples and burned incense to worship Muzishi. This person is on par with our sect master. Dongfang Qin quickly reminded Xiaofan in a low voice. Oh? Such a powerful person? Xiaofan couldn't help but stand up. At this moment, Xiaofan looked up and saw a middle-aged man in thin clothes walking in calmly. There was a faint wind blowing out from every pore of this person's body. His body seemed to contain infinite light. The light was so bright that people would feel dizzy if they took a few more glances at him. In his eyes, there was an ancient divine light, and there were runes overflowing with immortal qi. His every move was like a god descending to the mortal world. Amazing! This spirit and bearing, a great master, a true great master. I wonder how many times stronger he is compared to that Li Fanming. Xiaofan was secretly impressed. Brother Wu, we haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. Ha ha ha. The person who came, Muzishi, shook hands with Wu Li. The two of them looked at each other, and there was a strong sense of friendship in their eyes, as if they had been through life and death together. Brother Mu, please sit. Wu Li did not say much. It was as if there was no need to say anything. Muzishi did not stand on ceremony and sat down casually in the private room. However, even though he was just casually sitting there, it was as if he was sitting in the throne room. His aura and majesty revealed his unfathomable strength. Sit down. Wu Li nodded slightly to Xiaofan, Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling. They all sat down. Suddenly, Muzishi looked at Xiaofan. Brother Wu, this is the young Xiaofan. Your pure rain sect's genius that only appears once in 10,000 years. He rose to power and even killed the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. He's in the limelight for a while. This matter has spread throughout the entire Wuxia Tower. Everyone is amazed. Muzishi's eyes were very powerful. With just a glance at Xiaofan, he seemed to have seen through Xiaofan's weight, explosive force, speed, heartbeat and all kinds of vitality. His mental power was very strong and had a penetrating power. He could almost easily see through Xiaofan's life force, even his internal organs, as if he was looking at the lines on his palm. However, he did not find anything unusual in Xiaofan's heart. Frankly speaking, although Muzishi was powerful, he was still a lot weaker than the spirit wave that wanted to rush into Xiaofan's heart. It was almost like the difference between heaven and earth. Therefore, he had already been scanned by the extremely strong spirit wave. Now, facing the much weaker spirit wave of Muzishi, Xiaofan was naturally able to deal with it calmly. Xiaofan even smiled at Muzishi. Muzishi was moved. This bearing. Muzishi was shocked. Brother Wu, this young man is amazing. He is only at the 5th level of true qi, but he can actually be as calm as water when facing my gaze. Amazing, too amazing. Xiaofan, you should also prepare to expand your acupoints, right? Yes, accumulate well. Yes, senior, Xiaofan hurriedly said. He was also embarrassed. If he had not been baptized by a stronger spirit wave, Xiaofan would definitely not be able to maintain a calm state of mind when facing Muzishi's godlike light. Muzishi took a deep look at Xiaofan, then looked away and started chatting with Wu Li. Brother Wu, I have already given up my ranking on the Demon Hero ranking and will no longer roam the world. I am now in the Wuxia Tower and am responsible for some trivial matters such as running errands and passing messages. Ha ha ha. Muzishi smiled. However, it is also a good opportunity to cultivate and accumulate well. Oh? Brother Mu, you actually gave up your ranking? In this 10 years sacred war, you could have tried to become one of the eternal giants. Why are you so dispirited at this time and even gave up your ranking? Wu was slightly stunned. Ha ha ha. Brother Wu, it doesn't matter. I can take back this ranking at any time. It is not that I have lost my ambition, but I am just a little tired. Mu Zishi shook his head and laughed. I understand. Wu Li thought for a few seconds and laughed. It seems that Brother Mu is confident to become one of the eternal giants, so you gave up your ranking so that you can completely relax and rest the fatigue in your heart. If I'm not wrong, Brother Mu is preparing to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat, stepping into the ranks of the eternal giants in one go. Good, good, Brother Mu is not only not dispirited, but also planning before taking action. I have misunderstood. Ha ha ha. I will not participate in this 10 years sacred war. I will accumulate strength and wait for the next time. Mu Zishi did not deny it. After a pause, Mu Zishi looked at Xiaofan again. Brother Wu, this time I came here, firstly to catch up with Brother Wu, and secondly, I have something to discuss with Xiaofan. This matter is also the intention of the higher-ups, and I am responsible for passing the message. Oh. Wu, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling, and even Xiaofan himself were shocked. This Mu Zishi was a powerful character who stepped into the ranks of the eternal giants. He was a top figure among the eternal giants. Why did he specially come to find Xiaofan? Moreover, he kept saying that this was the intention of the higher-ups. What did the higher-ups mean? Chapter 262. Xiaohan's heart tightened when he heard that Mu Zishi was here to convey some instructions from the higher-ups. Uneasy. Torturous. Could it be that the powerful spiritual fluctuation from before has seen through the great secret lying dormant in my heart? So, in order to deal with me, it sent this Mu Zishi, a giant throughout the ages, to capture and suppress me? In an instant, Xiaofan felt as if there was a thorn in his back. He was restless, his body tensed up, and his essence, qi, and spirit were highly concentrated. The demon arch tattoo on his left arm trembled and twitched. His fighting spirit began to rise in his heart. Once things changed and the truth was exposed, Xiaofan would definitely not sit and wait for death. At that time, he would fight with his life on the line and see if he could kill his way out of the Wuxia pagoda. Xiaofan looked at Mu Zishi indifferently. Senior, what instructions do you have for me? Oh. Mu Zishi seemed to have noticed the change in Xiaofan. He was slightly stunned and immediately smiled. Xiaofan, it's not that I'm looking for you. The elders want me to pass a message to you. Mu Zishi paused and smiled at Wu Yu. Brother Wu, I'm just in charge of some trivial matters now, running errands for the old antiques of the Elders Guild. Brother Mu, what message does the Elders Guild want you to pass to Xiaofan? Wu Yu tapped his fingers on the agarwood table and said calmly. At the same time, Wu Yu glanced at Xiaofan from the corner of his eyes, signaling him to stay calm and not panic. Mu Zishi smiled and said. Brother Wu, to be honest, you and I are both heroes of the older generation. In this life, we have experienced many legends and met countless people. Out of all the new heroes, have you ever seen a youth like Xiaofan who has surpassed the ancients and the present? As soon as he became a hero, he dared to take on the mission to kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. His courage and insight are unparalleled. Moreover, he was able to successfully kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. I think Xiaofan must have used some strategies to kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. He might even have turned defeat into victory and sought survival in the midst of death. I've never seen such a brave and resourceful genius before. I'm afraid Brother Wu has never seen one before, right? One of a kind, Crow said directly. Xiaofan stared at Mu Zishi without blinking, trying to read her expression. If anything happened, Xiaofan would go berserk. However, Xiaofan realized that Mu Zishi was praising him instead. Moreover, his tone was extremely sincere, without the slightest hint of pretense. This caused Xiaofan to be a little puzzled. Why are you nagging? Why are you only praising me? Mu Zishi continued. Brother Wu, to tell you the truth, the elders are full of praises for Xiaofan and hold him in high regard. Xiaofan's performance in this year's Hex Hero preliminaries was very appealing to the elders, which made them think highly of Xiaofan. Xiaofan's success in killing the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor made the old men applaud him. Oh? Are the higher-ups preparing to groom Xiaofan? Wuxia laughed. Mu Zixi smiled but said nothing. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, you've only been a fiendish hero for a few months, so you don't have a ranking on the fiendish hero ranking. Right? Huh? Xiaofan was stunned. This. Yes, I know. There are millions of fiendish heroes in this world, but only 10,000 of them can get a ranking. To be able to get on the fiendish hero ranking is a matter of fame and glory. It is an honor. However, I'm not experienced enough to compete for a ranking on the fiendish hero ranking. But I yearn for it. I also want a place on the fiendish hero ranking. Ha ha ha. Mu Zixi nodded with a smile. How ambitious. Fang Ling blurted out. Are the higher-ups going to make an exception and allow Xiaofan to participate in the fiendish hero ranking challenge? Ha 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 ha. Mu Zixi laughed loudly. According to the rules, every new fiendish hero must serve for 2 years and pay 50,000 contribution points before they can participate in the ranking challenge. This rule has been used until now and has never been changed. No matter how enchanting, how pretentious, and how monstrous he was, the elders would not change the rules for him. But Xiaofan broke this rule, causing the elders to no longer abide by the rules and agreed to let Xiaofan participate in the fiendish hero ranking challenge in advance. Xiaofan, are you interested in challenging once? Once you succeed, you can get a ranking on the fiendish hero ranking. And, I can tell you that this is a relatively high ranking. It depends on whether you have ambition or not. Now the opportunity is in front of you. This. Xiaofan frowned and thought about it. The higher-ups of the Fiendish Hero Tower want me to participate in the Fiendish Hero Ranking Challenge. What are they planning? Didn't that powerful mental fluctuation already notice the abnormality in my heart? Why didn't they punish me immediately, but instead seem to want to cultivate me? What kind of crafty plot was hidden in this? It's really worth pondering. Wu Yu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling looked at Xiaohan at the same time. This. Senior Mu. I don't know anything about the Fiendish Hero Ranking Challenge. I have never heard of it. I don't know what the situation is. Xiaohan hesitated. Brother Mu, what is the ranking this time? Don't keep me guessing, just say it in one breath. Wu Yu looked at Mu Zixi. Okay, Mu Zixi nodded. It's like this. Last month, the famous fiendish hero, Hai Cheng Tian, who was ranked 1650th on the Fiendish Hero ranking, voluntarily gave up his ranking and retired from the Fiendish Hero Tower. Currently, he is on the 488th floor of the Fiendish Hero Tower, responsible for managing the secret training room. In other words, the 1650th place on the Fiendish Hero ranking is now vacant. Those who are ambitious can compete for this position. If Xiaohan is willing to participate in this Fiendish Hero ranking challenge, once you successfully break through, you will directly get a ranking, 1. Xiaohan, what do you think? A ranking within 2000 is already in the upper reaches of the entire Fiendish Hero ranking. It is relatively close to the ancient giants. To be able to get this ranking is definitely not a small matter. It is definitely a glorious thing for the sect. In the future, in the secular world, there will be people who will build temples for you and worship you day and night. Even in the entire Fiendish Hero world, you will be respected. After a pause, Mu Zixi continued to talk incessantly. There was no lack of incitement in his tone. Of course, Xiaohan, you may not care about empty reputation. However, when you get this ranking, there will be many real benefits. Let me tell you, the top of the Fiendish Hero ranking has a lot of privileges. You can enter many secret realms and ancient country ruins that ordinary fiendish heroes do not have access to. You can participate in missions to hunt mutated demon emperors. You can even form teams to participate in large-scale battles to encircle the great demon emperor. Every month, you can get a portion of contribution points. Well, you don't need to complete any missions. The higher-ups will directly allocate you a lot of contribution points. You can also use this ranking to buy vital energy secret manuals, various maps, intelligence, and even enter the secret cultivation room to get some discounts. Are you serious? Not only will there be a fixed monthly reward of contribution points, but you can also get discounts and save contribution points for doing anything in the Fiendish Hero Tower? Xiaofan was dumbfounded. Xiaofan, it's like this. Before this, you did not have a ranking, so I never mentioned this kind of thing to you. In case you get distracted. Now that Brother Mu has said it like this, I won't hide it anymore. Once you enter the top 200 on the Fiendish Hero ranking, you will have many privileges and preferential treatment. It is not something that ordinary Fiendish heroes can compare to. Wu Li also nodded in agreement. For example, a ranking of 1650 will receive 200,000 contribution points every month. You can get it for free. Moreover, you can buy secret manuals and maps in the Fiendish Hero Tower, precious medicine, divine weapons, and enter all kinds of secret cultivation rooms at a 20% discount. That works? Xiaofan was surprised. All in all, it is a matter of both fame and fortune. Mu Zishi continued to instigate and instigate. Xiaofan, the higher-ups made an exception to give you this opportunity. You have only become a fiendish hero for a few months, and you have already obtained a heaven-sent opportunity to become famous. Brother Wu and I do not have such good luck. Back then, we both struggled for more than 10 years before we had the opportunity to compete for such a ranking. Xiaofan, in fact, I personally think very highly of you. I also hope that you can create this immortal miracle, unprecedented, and within a year of becoming a fiendish hero, you will jump from being unknown to the top of the fiendish hero ranking. This kind of feat can be called a legend and will definitely be recorded in history. Oh. Xiaofan licked his lips. His mind was spinning, and all kinds of thoughts came one after another. Could it be that the higher-ups of the Fiendish Hero Tower have discovered my secret and really want to get rid of me, so they found such a reason to let me participate in the ranking challenge, but in this challenge, they planted a chess piece to suppress me? What a good plan. You can kill me in a justifiable and unbeknownst to a ghost, Xiaofan, this is an opportunity. However, I do not want you to make a hasty decision. You must not be reckless. Think carefully. Wu Dong said seriously. Participating in this kind of ranking challenge, the possibility of death is very low, but there is also competition, which can be called cruel competition. Once you fail, you may leave a psychological shadow, or even a mental demon, which will cause you to be unable to recover in the future. The mortality rate is very low? Xiaofan was puzzled. Yes, junior brother Xiaofan, think about it. Those who are qualified to compete for this ranking are all senior fiendish heroes with unparalleled merits, and they are all respected in their own areas. For our fiendish hero world, the death of one is an irreparable loss. Therefore, competition is competition, and the higher-ups will not allow death. As much as possible, we must prevent the contestants from falling into the sand and losing their lives. Junior brother Xiaofan, if you are confident, why not participate? This is a rare opportunity. Think about it, if you get a ranking of 1650, in the future when you go out in the pugilistic world, take out the fiendish hero token, and countless fiendish heroes will bow down to you, wouldn't that be very impressive? Ha ha ha. Indeed, a ranking of 1650 was already very, very high. However, Xiaohan's heart was in turmoil. If they want to torture me, why let me participate in a ranking competition with a low mortality rate? This is not right. Seeing that Xiaofan was hesitating, Wu Dong asked. Xiaofan, are you not confident? If you really don't have enough confidence, then forget it. It's okay if you don't participate, there will be opportunities in the future. It's not that I don't have confidence. Xiaofan hesitated for a few breaths, and then opened his mouth to ask. Senior Mu, I wonder what realm this senior fiendish hero who was originally ranked 1650 is at? Without a doubt, he is at the expanded acupoint realm. This junior would like to ask, how many times did he expand his acupoints, and how many times did he expand his acupoints? Or, has he already turned his true chi into true talisman and reached the talisman transformation realm? Also, how many people are participating in this ranking competition, and who are they? I hope that Senior Mu can tell me one by one. Oh. Xiaofan, it seems that you are already tempted by these questions. Ha ha ha, not bad, knowing oneself will win 100 battles. Alright, I'll tell you one by one. Mu Zixi eyes were filled with praise and admiration. Young people, it's good to be brave and diligent, and to dare to fight and fight. It's not good to be a coward. Xiaofan, since you dared to kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor, it's impossible that you don't dare to participate in this ranking competition. Chapter 263. Yes, Xiaofan was indeed tempted by the Devil Hero ranking challenge. Let's not talk about the benefits of winning this ranking. Now that Xiaofan had opened 50 acupoints, he was about to take the crucial step of breaking through to the 51st acupoint and step into the expanded acupoint state. To expand acupoints, he needed to accumulate. He needed to go through Mountain of Blades and Sea of Fire, he needed to transform in the face of death, and he needed to develop his life potential as much as possible. Cultivating true chi was the way to go. Xiaofan knew that if he wanted to go further on the path of cultivation, or even become an immortal in the future, he had to make great progress in the cultivation of true chi and kill everything in his way. Cultivating true chi was not like cooking tea, admiring flowers, singing to wine, riding on a crane, but a path of no return. It was a path of no return. One had to overcome all obstacles, constantly kill the demons in one's heart, eradicate the demon race, and wander between life and death. In the end, one had to break through all illusions and seek the truth to prove one's Tao. Therefore, for Xiaofan, the Hex Hero ranking challenge was not just a simple ranking, but also a chance to hone his skills. To be able to compete with many senior Hex Heroes, to be on an equal footing, and even to be the champion, was a huge accumulation in itself. If he wanted to expand acupoints well, he couldn't do without this accumulation. This Hex Vigilante ranking challenge is a competition for the 1650th place. It's definitely much more valuable than the Hex Vigilante preliminaries. It's totally different. Xiaofan knew. However, Xiaofan also suspected that the higher-ups of the Devil Hero Pagoda made an exception for him to participate in the Devil Hero ranking challenge. They might want to eliminate him, or even suppress him. Dig out his heart and dissect his abdomen for research. The situation was extremely dangerous. However, from another perspective, the other party was a higher-up of the Devil Hero Pagoda and was suspected to be an immortal. Dealing with such a colossus that could suppress the universe and cover the heavens with a single hand was simply like a child's play. Therefore, even if Xiaofan refused to participate in the Devil Hero ranking challenge, the other party would come up with other plans and schemes. Running away was not a solution. Instead of worrying every day and being on guard day and night, it would cause distracting thoughts in his heart. It might even breed a terrifying demon in his heart. It was better to face it calmly. Deal with it as it comes. Life was short, like a mayfly's dream. There was no room for so many schemes. There was no room for so much forbearance. Fighting with all his might was Xiaofan's Tao. Senior Mu, please tell me about the strength of the Senior Devil Hero 1650 on the original Devil Hero ranking list, as well as the situation of the Devil Heroes who are participating in the competition for this ranking. Indeed, this junior's heart palpitated with eagerness, and I also wanted to obtain this ranking. He officially made a name for himself in the world of chivalry. Xiaofan looked at Mu Zixi and said, "It's time to raise the prestige of our pure maiden sect." "Good, Xiaofan, listen well." Mu Zixi looked at Xiaofan with great approval, her words overflowing with praise. The person who originally occupied the 1650th spot on the Devil Hero ranking was the famous Devil Hero Hai Qingtian. This person was extremely brave and talented. He had long occupied the top 2000 of the Monster Hero ranking list. He had also killed high-level monster emperors and had made great contributions. He cultivated the mountain and sea fist scripture. With the mountains as the scripture and the sea as the latitude, his fists were like falling stars, engulfing the 9 prefectures and destroying everything. He was a tough character to deal with. In terms of the true Qi realm, it was no small matter. He was at the peak of the expanded meridian realm, expanding his meridians 10 times, opening 60 true meridians in his body, expanding them 46 times. The volume of his true Qi was majestic. Even the mountain and sea prison could not compare to him. All these years, I heard that Hai Qingtian was accumulating his strength. He wanted to transform all the true Qi in his body into true talismans, break through the 61st true meridian, and step into the talisman transformation realm. From what I can see, Hai Qingtian's situation is very similar to mine. He looked like he wanted to give up his ranking and retire from the Devil Hero Tower, but in reality, he wanted to let go of his burden, his honor, and go all out to achieve the talisman transformation realm. Moreover, many people know that Hai Qingtian had already touched the threshold of transforming true Qi into true talismans. Although he did not break through the last layer of window paper, his combat strength is close to that of a normal talisman transformation realm. He is indeed a powerful person. He is ranked within the top 2000 of the Devil Hero ranking list. He deserves his reputation. Fang Ling sighed deeply. After listening to Mu Zixi's introduction, Xiaofan could roughly guess the combat strength of this devil hero, Hai Qingtian. The pinnacle of the expanded meridian realm, expanding acupoints by 46 times. He is an expert among experts. His true Qi is as deep as the ocean, and the cultivation technique he cultivates is definitely a top-notch cultivation technique. If I were to fight him, I would definitely be tortured to death by such a powerful person with brute force. I might only stand a chance if I use demonic techniques. If I want to defeat him, I might have to use my trump card, the Green Dragon Demon Emperor's natal demonic technique, Green Dragon Possession. Xiaofan continuously evaluated in his heart. Senior Mu, in other words, the senior devil heroes who are competing with me to fill this vacancy must have combat strength close to Hai Qingtian's. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the confidence to compete for his ranking, Xiaofan guessed. Yes, those who are not strong enough to participate in this ranking challenge are asking to be humiliated. It can be said that those who covet Hai Qingtian's ranking must be senior devil heroes who have made great achievements in cultivation in recent years and think that they are qualified to replace him. All of them are arrogant and unruly people. According to the information I have, apart from you, Xiaofan, there are a total of 15 senior devil heroes who have signed up for the competition. They are all arrogant and are determined to get the 1650 ranking, Mu Zixi said while looking at Xiaofan. Oh? 15 senior devil heroes? In other words, including me, there will be a total of 16 people participating in this devil hero ranking challenge. Among the 16 people, only one will be able to get the 1650 ranking of Hai Qingtian. Xiaofan also understood. 1 in 16 chance, Wu Li muttered as he tapped his fingers on the agarwood table. Xiaofan, it is different from the devil hero trial. Once you participate in this devil hero ranking challenge, your opponents will not be useless. The 15 opponents are all experienced devil heroes who have walked out of mountains of corpses and seas of bones. Their lives are filled with legendary experiences, and each of them has their own fortuitous encounters and their own unique skills. They kill the devil clan as if it is nothing to them. They are experienced, and the older they get, the more determined they become. They are all great figures who have been famous throughout history and illuminated the 9 states. They can also start their own sects and become grandmasters. Each of them is not easy to deal with. Now, you have to face a total of 15 people like this. Indeed, it is very difficult. 1650, such a ranking is not so easy to get, Fang Ling also reminded Xiaofan. Xiaofan. Senior brother Dongfang and I are also not ordinary people. We have been devil heroes for a long time, but our ranking is outside the top 5,000. For us, a ranking like 1650 is out of our reach. We don't even dare to think about it. Xiaofan, it is extremely difficult for you to compete for such a high ranking. Although you are a genius in your life, your luck is like a rainbow. However, I'm still lacking a little in terms of maturity and experience. Brother Mu, those 15 people. What is their background? Wu Li asked. Brother Wu, I am not very clear about the specific details. I have not received the list of participants yet. However, as far as I know, among the 15 participants, 12 of them are within the top 2,000 of the Devil Hero ranking. Only 2 of them are outside the top 2,000. The remaining one has no ranking. Mu Zixi tone became extremely serious at the end. In fact, if there is no accident, among the 15 participants, the most dangerous and terrifying one happens to be the one without ranking. No ranking, but the most terrifying? Xiaofan was puzzled. Heh. Mu Zixi looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, I don't have a ranking right now. I know. In other words, a devil hero who originally had a good ranking, like Senior Mu, gave up his ranking. Now, he wants to come back and make a comeback. Therefore, he covets the position of 1650. He wants to regain his ranking. Xiaofan woke up from a dream. Who is this person? Wu Li's voice also became serious. It is a mystery for the time being. However, this person's original ranking was within the top 1500. Mu Zixi said word by word. Hiss. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling gasped at the same time. The devil hero within the top 1500, after giving up his ranking and retiring for a period of time, couldn't bear the loneliness and wanted to come out. He wanted to first obtain a ranking of 1650, then catch up and take back his previous ranking, or even climb up and go further. This kind of person is indeed very dangerous. Dongfang Qin said dumbfoundedly. There is actually such a person? Xiaofan licked his lips. In his heart, he thought, however, if I directly compete with such a dangerous person, once I step on him, I will gain an indescribable accumulation. The benefits of expanding the acupoints are very great. Knowing that there was such a person participating in the ranking challenge, Xiaofan's heart not only did not have too much worry and fear, but also a little excited. His fighting spirit began to rise. His blood and qi surged. In addition to this formidable opponent, I know that there is also the great Son of Heaven. Mu Zixi spoke again. The great Son of Heaven is also a devil hero with infinite potential. On the devil hero ranking, he is ranked 1701. In the southern domain Blazing Sun Empire, he personally created a sect, the Sun God Palace. It has spread its branches and developed into a powerful force in the Blazing Sun Empire. Before this, the great Son of Heaven expanded his acupoints 9 times, 43 times. However, these few months, he did not come out of seclusion. After many years of accumulation, he officially broke through the 60th acupoint. He said that in the 10th time, he would strive to increase the capacity of his true qi to 50 times. 3 days ago, the great Son of Heaven came out of seclusion. He had successfully broken through the 60th acupoint and completed the last expansion. Now, I am afraid that he has already begun to transform his true qi into true talismans, trying to ascend to the talisman transformation realm in one fell swoop. The great son of heaven? Xiaofan was shocked. He also wants to participate in the competition for the 1650th rank? Then how many times has his acupoint expanded now? He did not expand his acupoint by 50 times as he wished, but expanding it by 47 times is enough to look down on all the other heroes. Mu Zishi smiled. The great son of heaven is very ambitious. After coming out of seclusion, he immediately wants to compete fiercely and snatch the 1650th rank. In fact, on one hand, he wants to verify his combat strength, on the other hand, he wants to make a name for himself, and on the other hand, it is to pave the way for him to ascend to the talisman transformation realm. It is also considered as accumulating. Probably, the great son of heaven does not care about this ranking, but wants to use this competition to gain enough accumulation. Xiaofan, the current situation of the great son of heaven is similar to yours. You want to pave the way for the expansion of acupoints, to accumulate the foundation. The great son of heaven is to pave the way for the talisman transformation. The great son of heaven. He. Good, very good. It seems that I, Xiaofan, and him, have really met on a narrow path. Xiaofan's eyes flashed with faint hatred. Oh? Xiaofan, could there be some enmity between you and the great son of heaven? Mu Zishi was slightly stunned. To be honest, back then, Junior's strength was not good enough, and I was threatened by the great son of heaven many times, and was even almost captured by him. Moreover, in this year's Monster Hero selection, in the Southern Region preliminary competition, Junior even personally killed the proud disciple of the great son of heaven, Crown Prince Wuxia. It can be said that Junior and the great son of heaven have a deep hatred. He once humiliated Junior, regarded me as an ant, and wanted to trample me to death. That year, Junior made a vow that one day, I will make him pay back double. Heh. I didn't expect there to be such a story. This also made this year's Monster Hero ranking competition more interesting. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan, are you going to participate or not? This is the decision. Mu Zishi teased, and immediately looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan couldn't help but look at Wu Yu. Xiaofan, you make the decision yourself. However, according to your temperament, you should already have a choice, right? Wu Yu smiled, held up the teacup, and lightly took a sip of the fragrant tea. Yes, Sect Master, disciple already has a plan. Xiaofan licked his lips, and looked at Mu Zishi. Senior Mu, since the Elder Guild specially asked you to inform Junior of this matter, it seems that the higher-ups also want Junior to participate. Since things have come to this, Junior has no reason to refuse. Alright, Junior will participate in this Monster Hero ranking competition, compete for the 1650th rank, and compete with 15 competitors. This is a rare opportunity to accumulate strength. Junior does not want to miss it. Chapter 264. After weighing the pros and cons, Xiaofan finally agreed to participate in the Devil Hero ranking challenge and compete with 15 senior Devil Heroes for the high ranking of 1650. Good. Heroes come from young. Xiaofan, I didn't misjudge you. Hearing Xiaofan's quick answer, Mu Zishi's eyes were also filled with relief, and his eyes were burning with anticipation. He even looked like he was going to watch a good show. Those old men in the Elders' Council also hope that Xiaofan won't refuse and waste this great opportunity. In reality, those old men have repeatedly expressed that in this ranking challenge competition, they will not let Xiaofan die. Even if you cannot defeat the other competitors and obtain this ranking in the end, you will definitely not lose your life. You can rest assured about this. Just go to the competition with peace of mind. Be brave and strive for the top. Brother Mu, I want to see how you can be a busybody. Wu Li laughed involuntarily. Mu Zishi also smiled. To tell you the truth, Brother Wu, in recent years, there has been no sensational event in the whole Devil Hero world. Life is really peaceful. Finally, Xiaofan, like a god descending to the world, has the opportunity to create a rare miracle. I am also very eager to witness this miracle. I want to witness this miracle with my own eyes. Brother Wu, throughout history, there has never been a young devil hero in his 20s who can be ranked within 2000 on the devil hero ranking list. Now Xiaofan has this possibility. Xiaofan is not only challenging this ranking, but also challenging history and challenging the record. Once he succeeds, it will be a great achievement that will be famous for thousands of years. Hearing Mu Zixi words, Xiaofan also did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, looking at his attitude, Xiaofan did not feel that Mu Zixi had any hostility or conspiracy against him. Perhaps, Mu Zixi still does not know that my secret has been targeted by the Devil Hero Tower. There is no other way, now I can only advance step by step. Xiaofan thought to himself. Xiaofan, I'll be taking my leave now. Prepare yourself. 5 days later, this year's Devil Hero Ranking Challenge will officially begin. Mu Zixi stood up, nodded to Xiaofan, and gave him an encouraging look. I will send the detailed information of the 15 competitors to you as soon as possible. What? The competition will start in 5 days? Isn't this too hasty? Xiaofan was surprised. Well. Xiaofan, the Hex Hero Ranking Challenge has been prepared for a long time. I didn't take you into consideration. The higher-ups aren't going to make an exception to let you participate in the competition. However, after the news of you killing the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor reached the Wuxia Pagoda, the higher-ups were shocked and decided to let you participate in the competition at the last minute. 5 days might be a bit of a rush, but sharpening a spear at the last moment is better than nothing. I'm still optimistic about Xiaofan's chances of creating a miracle. Ha, alright, I won't say much. I still have other matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave now. Brother Wu, I will take my leave first. With that, Mu Zixi left swiftly. Xiaofan, I knew that with your temperament, you would definitely participate in the competition. You even dared to kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor, what else do you not dare to do? Wu Yu laughed. Sect Head, this is also an important accumulation for me before I attempt to reach Expanding Aperture Realm. Xiaofan nodded his head. Junior brother Xiaofan, this ranking challenge is more than 10 times more dangerous than the Hex Hero Selection Challenge. You will be facing a group of real experts, so you have to fight steadily. Don't be greedy. Fortunately, the death rate of the ranking challenge is very low. Throughout history, there are very few cases of participants dying. Just like what you said, treat it as a training and accumulation. Dongfang Qin said with a serious face. Xiaofan, I hope that you can continue to create miracles this time. Fang Ling encouraged him. Yes. I will be careful. Xiaofan nodded his head heavily. Xiaofan, I noticed that when you were facing Mu Zixi at the beginning, your emotions were a little out of whack. You even revealed a very obvious battle intent. What exactly happened? Suddenly, Wu Mu lowered his voice and asked. This. Sect Head, it's nothing. Maybe I was too nervous. Xiaofan didn't want to reveal that his secret was discovered by the higher-ups of the Wuxia Pagoda. Oh. Wu Yu took a deep look at Xiaofan, then looked away and took a sip of tea. Xiaofan, remember, no matter what happens, the Pure Cloud sect is your home. I will protect you. Hearing this, Xiaofan was touched. Thank you, Sect Head. Alright, Xiaofan, you only have 5 days to prepare. You should stay in the Wuxia Pagoda and adjust your state. You don't have to return to the Pure Cloud sect for the time being. Do you need to enter the House of Vigor again for cultivation and enlightenment? I can give you some contribution points. Wu Yu said seriously. Dongfang Qin smiled. Yes, junior brother Xiaofan, the Hex Hero Ranking Challenge is approaching. Don't go back and forth. Just stay in the Wuxia pagoda. Don't worry too much about your 2 wives. They are very comfortable with life in the Pure Cloud sect. Once you obtain this extremely high ranking as a devil hero, you can go back in glory and marry them. That would be perfect. Ha ha ha. I'm afraid they wouldn't even dream that they would marry a top devil hero in this life, right? Ha ha ha. Ha. Senior brother Dongfang, you must be joking. What wedding night? I have never thought about it. Xiaofan was embarrassed. Immediately, Xiaofan raised his head and said to Wu Yu. Sect Master, for me to have you give me contribution points, this disciple feels very apologetic. It's okay. Now is a critical moment. Xiaofan, if you can get this ranking, I will be very pleased. The entire Pure Cloud sect will be glorious. Moreover, it can also improve the status of the Pure Cloud sect in the Beacon Fire Empire and even in the entire southern region. Wu Yu said decisively. Alright, Xiaofan, you can stay in the House of Vigor for the next 5 days. That's good. I will also take the opportunity to refine my saber intent. Xiaofan no longer refused. The 33rd floor of the Wuxia pagoda. The resting area. In a private room. The Great Sun Emperor and the Dragon Bone Saint Saber were sitting at an agarwood table, talking to each other. At this moment, the Great Sun Emperor's aura was strong. Compared to the past, his spirit and aura were on another level. A blazing sun rose from the top of his head, illuminating the 9 continents. With his body as the center, countless strange phenomena appeared. Within the blazing true chi, countless fire dragons, fire phoenixes, fire tigers, fire crows, and fire cheilants were born and destroyed. It was a marvelous sight. With a slight movement of his body, the wind and clouds gathered. From every pore on his body, a terrifying sound of volcanic eruption could be heard. Boom boom boom, all of a sudden, a blazing sun appeared from the body of the Great Sun Emperor. Each of the blazing suns shot out rays of holy light, bathing his body and nourishing his body. Rings of light appeared around the body of the Great Sun Emperor. Within these rings of light, there were runes dancing like spirits. Holy light, sky, blazing sun, fiery trees, silver flowers, and all kinds of rivers, oceans, heavenly palaces, and divine mountains. Auspicious air rose and auspicious clouds shrouded the sky. It made the Great Sun Emperor look like a celestial being, high and mighty. The Emperor of the Great Sun just sat there calmly, exuding the demeanor of a supreme expert who was impervious to all sorts of favors and humiliation. If someone were to stand beside him, they would definitely feel an intense pressure, as though a mountain range was pressing down on them, gushing over forcefully. Good. After 10 times, the acupoints had expanded 47 times. Great Sun, this result was enough to bring to the stage. Now you can prepare to break through to the talisman transformation realm. The talismans formed by the true acupoints with 47 times capacity will definitely be wondrous and strong. After I expanded my acupoints 10 times, the capacity of my true acupoints only reached 43 times, and I finally completed the talisman transformation. Great Sun, your foundation is stronger than mine. Once you transform into talismans, your strength will definitely be above mine. The Dragon Bone Saint Blade sighed. The Emperor of the Great Sun snorted indifferently. His eyes were filled with ambition and satisfaction. I wanted to pursue perfection, to expand my acupoints by 50 times and build a strong foundation. However, I am still lacking. Of course, expanding my acupoints by 47 times is indeed not a small matter. When I step into the talisman transformation realm, I will definitely catch up and greatly increase my ranking on the Devil Hero ranking. This time, my participation in the challenge for the 1650th place on the Devil Hero ranking is the first step to my rise. I can feel that my life has reached an extremely strong stage, shining brilliantly, and I am just a step away from the talisman transformation realm. If there are no accidents, after this competition, I will be able to accumulate enough to transform my true energy into talismans. Great son, your aura is indeed getting stronger. I also think that you will be able to get the 1650th place. The Dragon Bone Saint Blade added. By the way, Dragon Bone, after I came out of seclusion, I heard that Xiaofan has been in the limelight recently. What is going on? The Great Sun Emperor frowned slightly. Hearing this, the Dragon Bone Saint Blade's expression froze, and it frowned deeply. Great Sun, Xiaohan's path of development is too abnormal. After he became a devil hero, the first mission he took was to kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. The Azure Dragon Demon Emperor is an elite among the high-level demon emperors. Even if we join forces, it's almost impossible to kill him. Instead, we might die. This kid and Xiao Mingqiu entered the Great Wilderness together. Xiao Mingqiu is also a powerful person, so I didn't dare to follow them into the Great Wilderness. Moreover, I thought that Xiaofan would be courting death by hunting the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor, so I gave up monitoring him. However, I didn't expect that a few months later, the Devil Hero Tower actually received news that Xiaofan had completed the mission and successfully killed the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. This time, everyone was shocked. It can be said that Xiaofan is currently at the peak of his power, and no one in the younger generation can compete with him. After a pause, the Dragon Bone Saint Blade pondered. However, I will never believe that Xiaofan personally killed the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. He must have done it through someone else. I think it was Xiao Mingqiu who did it. What? Killed the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor? The Emperor of the Great Sun's face suddenly became gloomy, and he even stood up abruptly. This evil creature actually improved so quickly. Regardless of whether it was Xiao Mingqiu who did it, we can't underestimate this evil creature now. Moreover, we can't let him continue to grow. This kid will definitely shine brighter and brighter in the future. By that time, we won't be able to suppress him anymore. No. We must find an opportunity to kill him in advance. We can't give him any more chances to live. His speed of growth makes even me a little afraid. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, the Dragon Bone Saint Blade laughed out loud. Dragon Bone, what are you laughing at? Don't you think that this evil creature Xiaofan is too heaven-defying? If this kind of person doesn't die, we won't be able to eat and sleep in peace. The Emperor of the Great Sun was slightly dissatisfied. Virokana, there are 15 people participating in the Devilman ranking challenge this time, besides you, according to my latest news. Because Xiaohan's recent performance was too dazzling, the higher-ups of the Devil Hero Tower decided to make an exception and let Xiaofan participate in this ranking competition. Ha ha ha. Great Sun, that means Xiaofan will be competing with you for the ranking competition. You know what to do, right? Ha ha ha. The Dragon Bone Saint Blade's eyes flashed with a cold killing intent. Great Sun, as you said, this Xiaofan is too demonic. He is like a ferocious tiger lying in a desolate hill. As long as he doesn't die, we won't be able to have a day of peace. I didn't expect that he would also get involved this time. Great Sun, with your current cultivation, it shouldn't be difficult for you to suppress Xiaofan. In for a penny, in for a pound, in for a pound, in for a pound. Find a chance to kill him. After that, you will just have to accept some bearable punishment, not death. Ha 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 ha. This is what it means by Heaven's Net has a long way to go. Hearing this, the Emperor of the Great Sun also laughed wildly. I was just worried that I couldn't find a chance to kill this evil creature, but I didn't expect that there would be such an arrangement. Heaven's will. This is really Heaven's will. Dragon Bone, Xiaofan was like an ant that we could step on whenever we wanted to. But in just a few years, he became a great threat to us. Don't you think that there's something strange about this? In addition to the secrets of the demon clan, Xiaofan must have had a great fortuitous encounter. I must take this opportunity to get all the secrets of Xiaofan. It will be the perfect foundation for my rise. Ha ha ha. Dragon Bone, don't worry. When the time comes, I will not forget you. The secrets and fortune of Xiaofan will be shared equally between the two of us. Alright, great son, it's a deal. Alright, you should also prepare yourself. The competition will begin in 5 days. Other than Xiaofan, those who will compete with you for the ranking this time are all formidable opponents. You must not underestimate them. The Dragon Bone Saint Saber also reminded. Wuxia domain. The sky was clear and boundless. Boom boom boom, suddenly, above the blue sky, 99 golden rainbows suddenly appeared, piercing through the north and south, and the east and west. Auspicious clouds descended one after another, and it was raining flowers. On these golden rainbows, there were countless young boys and girls. Some of the young boys and girls were boiling water and brewing tea, some were washing tea sets, some were playing musical instruments, some were reading books, and some were waving banners. Between the heavens and the earth, flowers fell from the sky, and golden lotuses appeared on the ground. On one of the thickest golden rainbows, there was a young man in a golden robe. He had his hands behind his back, and he walked forward unhurriedly. His steps were very calm, as if he was taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. However, his steps were steady, slow, and dignified. Suddenly, there was a huge pressure in the sky and on the ground. It made people feel that this man in a golden robe was like a celestial emperor descending to the world to inspect the rivers and mountains. This man looked to be in his 20s or 30s. He had a jade-like face, and the lines of his face were very gentle. His hands were empty, but every move he made emitted a kind of magical charm that could frighten the soul. It was as if anyone in front of him had to bow down to him. My lord is lucky. My lord will enjoy immortal happiness forever, and live as long as the heavens. At that moment, all the boys and girls on the golden rainbow knelt down on their knees and began to chant in a loud and clear voice. The appearance of this man in a golden robe was so magnificent that it was almost unparalleled. Ha 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 ha. Good, very good. 20 years ago, I, Ingzhantian, fought with a mutated demon emperor in the depths of the grand wilderness, and both of us were injured. The mutated demon monarch is indeed powerful. In just a few dozen moves, he managed to force me to the brink of death. However, I made a prompt decision and activated a secret skill. At the cost of exploding my true acupoints, I escaped from the demon's mouth and escaped, but I also injured it a lot. Since then, I gave up my ranking on the monster hero list and retired to the mountains. 20 years have passed, and my injuries have healed. Moreover, with that bloody battle with the mutated demon emperor, my cultivation has actually improved. Ha ha ha. Well, today, I announce that I, Ingzhantian, have returned to the Jianhu. First, I will get the ranking of 1650, and then I will show my strength. I, Ingzhantian, will definitely get the ranking that I lost with my own hands. Ha 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 ha. Tremble. I, Ingzhantian, am back. Chapter 265. Xiaofan was once again teleported to the 429th floor of the Wuxia Tower and entered the 10X room of spirit numbered 765. Wuli gave Xiaofan millions of contribution points so that he could continue to cultivate in the 10X room of spirit and make the final preparations for the Wuxia ranking competition in 5 days. Xiaofan sat cross-legged on the cattail hassock, allowing the strings of runes to baptize his mind, making it crystal clear, smooth, and flawless. A ball of blazing light seeped out of Xiaofan's mind, forming a halo that shone through the ages. In this state, Xiaofan seemed to have suddenly gained great wisdom, great determination, and could conquer his inner demons. His entire body would not have any distracting thoughts, and he had a deeper understanding of the cultivation of various martial arts techniques. He broke through all obstacles and made breakthroughs, advancing triumphantly. Because he did not have enough accumulation, Xiaofan did not break through the 51st acupoint. He only refined his saber intent and continued to study and comprehend the broken emotion form and broken desire form of the 7-fragment saber technique. Joy, anger, sorrow, and joy of the 7 emotions, as well as the eyes, ears, nose, and tongue of the 6 desires, have all been broken. Now, only love, desire, and evil of the 7 emotions, as well as the body and mind of the 6 desires, have not been broken. I'll make the best use of my time to cultivate. Once I break through the 7 emotions and 6 desires, my saber will be flawless, and the saber will dominate the world, destroying all 6 paths. I can produce a natal saber chi in my body and achieve great success in saber intent. The saber intent at the great success stage can easily kill people of a higher level. If I have this trump card, then I will have enough foundation to challenge those experienced Wuxia in the Wuxia ranking competition in 5 days. Soon, Xiaofan abandoned all distracting thoughts and entered a state of cultivation where he forgot himself. Wuxia domain. In a tranquil valley that looked like a paradise. Under the waterfall, next to the maple forest, on a dry stone in the rapid torrent, a man in black stood proudly like a lone crane. His clothes were as black as night. This person's expression was lonely and depressed. His body did not emit any sharp true chi waves, but there was a boundless murderous aura everywhere. His long hair fluttered even though there was no wind, and his face was chiseled. This was the face of a middle-aged man who had experienced the vicissitudes of life. It was as if all the ups and downs of the world were carved on this face. His high cheekbones made him look extremely cold. His eyes were long and narrow, and his eyes were completely white. They were like ice stones, as if they had already been frozen. The torrent hit the rock he was standing on, water droplets splashed everywhere. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, the maple leaves in all directions made a rustling sound. His sleeves also fluttered in the wind. Between heaven and earth, everything seemed to be in a state of rhythm. However, he did not move. There was no movement. Shwa shwa shwa, the maple leaves that filled the sky drifted down, lingering on the black-clad man's head and surroundings like snowflakes. Shockingly. In the black-clothed man's lifeless eyes, there was actually a flash of light that was as sharp as lightning. The devastatingly beautiful sword intent radiated out in an instant. It was a sword cultivator. In an instant, the air around the black-clothed man cracked and disintegrated inch by inch. With his body as the center, a sharp sword aura soared into the sky. It was like a heavenly sword, towering and towering, causing thousands of swords to submit. An extremely dangerous aura was emitted. In the next moment, poo 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 poo, every inch of the black-clothed man's pores continuously emitted a strong sword intent. These sword intents gathered together and shot out in all directions, causing him to suddenly stab out a total of 1,000 swords. In a breath's time, he slashed out a total of 1,000 swords. Each sword was faster than the previous one. Each sword was sharper than the previous one. The sword gave off a thunderous sound. Each sword contained the profoundness of swordsmanship, and each sword contained the principle of swordsmanship. The 2 words sword Dao were vividly and incisively explained, and it was impeccable. Puchi, the maple leaves that filled the sky were all crushed into powder. Hoo, the stream broke apart and was cut into hundreds of pieces. It could not gather again for a moment. Clap clap clap, the sound of hands clapping was heard. A woman's voice, like the singing of birds and the fragrance of flowers, rang out. The 1,000-sword gentleman, ranked 1788th on the Devilman ranking list, is indeed a godly swordsman. 1,000 swords with a single thought, killing people and ghosts. Amazing, really amazing. I didn't expect that a proud and aloof person like you could not help but be tempted to compete for the 1650th place on the Devilman ranking list. I originally thought that you would wait until this 10 years holy war, to compete for a ranking. I didn't expect that you could not hold back your loneliness now. With a competitor like you, whinnying really has a headache. All of a sudden, the maple forest was shrouded in a thick mist. The mist lingered in the air, and the air was filled with moisture. Powerful waves of true energy began to spread. Not long after, the sound of gurgling water could be heard in the misty rain. A tall and slender woman's hazy silhouette slowly walked over like a fairy walking on the waves. Pooh! Suddenly, the stream under the black-clothed man's feet was suddenly drained and condensed into a huge water lotus in the air. Then, the water lotus exploded and broke into many small water lotuses, extending straight to the feet of the hazy woman. The woman stepped on the water lotuses and walked into the air. The woman was wearing a plain long gown. Her face was out of this world, and she had a graceful and luxurious temperament. Oh! Lu Wanying, ranked 1777th on the Devilman ranking list. A strange expression flashed across the black-clothed man's pale eyes. Lu Wanying, it seems that your holy water incantation has reached perfection. No wonder you also came to compete for this position. However, this time, I am determined to win. Ha, such a strong determination. Thousand Swords gentlemen, judging from the lingering sword intent here, you may have touched the threshold of the sword intent of the Desheng stage. No wonder your whole body exudes an unparalleled belief of victory. However, Wanying wants to remind you that this time, in addition to the Devilman ranking list ranked within 2000, there is also a great master who used to be ranked within 1500. He retired for a period of time, and now he is back in Jianghu to fight for a position on the Devilman ranking list. It is no small matter. Thousand Swords gentlemen, do you have the confidence to deal with this kind of person? It doesn't matter. I am a sword cultivator, and I have comprehended the supreme sword intent. I can fight regardless of my level. No matter who the opponent is, I will defeat him with one sword. There is also the great Sun Emperor. He has been in seclusion for several months. Now that he has come out, he is in a turbulent situation. Do you have the confidence to defeat him? Defeat him with one sword. There is also the young man, Xiaofan, who has been in the limelight recently. He killed the Green Dragon Demon Emperor. His adventures can be said to be heaven-defying. Little rookie, nothing to worry about. Defeat him with one sword. Devilman region. In a continuous mountain range. On the main peak of this mountain range, there was a castle full of demonic aura. The gate of the castle was open, and a throne was revealed. On this throne, a young man sat lazily. He was extremely handsome, with a high nose bridge, but his eyes were dark green, which made him have an exotic temperament, and showed even more evil charm. He was wearing a red robe and a crown on his head. His attire made him look like the crown prince of some empire in the secular world. This young man's body aura was extremely strong, and his whole body emitted a terrifying sound that sounded like thunder. Under the throne he was sitting on, there were 81 young girls wrapped in light gauze. These girls were all coquettish, and they were all natural beauties. However, the tips of their eyebrows and the corners of their eyes rippled with a kind of seductive look. They all stared at this young man with their big, watery eyes. 7 Knights Demon Lord, this time you are going to participate in the Devilman ranking list challenge. You will definitely be able to defeat all the heroes and get that ranking. Some of the girls said coquettishly, trying to please him. Ha ha ha. Of course. In the Devilman domain, there are many Devilmen who cultivate demonic techniques, but few of them can reach the level of me, the 7 Knights Demon Lord. Ha 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 ha. A month ago, this young master's 7 Knights great devil art was finally perfected. It just so happens that this time's ranking challenge competition happened. Who knows, this young master will have to display his prowess this time and push my ranking of 1700 even higher. Ha ha ha. Of course, the ranking is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that I can establish my prestige through this competition. To let the higher-ups know that the demonic technique is not weak. Ha ha ha. As the rampant laughter resounded through the world, suddenly, a black river of demonic aura appeared above the castle, and the waves were rolling. Suddenly, a demonic hand covered with black scales stretched out from the demonic river, emitting an evil aura. It was like an ancient demonic lord, covering the sky and the sun, and the true chi went berserk. This demonic hand gently grabbed, and the 5 fingers vibrated. Suddenly, the airflow within 100 miles was all blocked, and the air was also imprisoned. In fact, even the space crystal wall seemed to have been clawed to pieces, leaving behind a palm print. Devilman Domain. A tall and imposing giant man was walking on a boundless plain. There was a towering mountain on top of this giant man's head. This mountain emitted an incomparably heavy pressure, and its domineering aura was rampant. Suddenly, the giant man opened his mouth, and rays of divine light shot out, lingering around the giant mountain, causing it to shrink in an instant, and finally turned into a ball of light, which was swallowed by the giant man. He could actually swallow a mountain in one gulp. This was unbelievable. Ha ha ha. I, Xiong Baishan, am a man of indomitable spirit. In this year's ranking challenge competition, I must obtain a ranking of 1650. Ha ha ha. I'm a man. Of course, I must strive to be first. The giant man laughed wildly, and his laughter was so loud that the ground seemed to be shaking, as if there was an earthquake. Devilman Tower. The top floor. There were a total of 12 blazing spirit storms, like 12 scorching suns that shone for eternity. The light beams were shocking, and the runes were floating, lingering around a godlike spirit storm in the middle. The huge spirit storm in the middle was rolling with the aura of immortality. These 13 spirit storms were the top floor of the Devilman Tower. They were the most mysterious and powerful group of giants among the human race in this world. They were the Tower Master of the Devilman Tower and the members of the Elders Guild. Tower Master, we ordered Muzishi, who has retired for thousands of years, to pass on our message to Xiaofan. This will not arouse any suspicion. Now, Muzishi has reported that young Xiaofan has agreed to participate in this year's ranking challenge. Well, Xiaofan is really brave, and he dares to fight, and he will not have stage fright. Sigh, it's really a pity. A genius like Xiaofan is hard to come by. If it wasn't for the mysterious demon clan's origin energy in his heart, which may bring a catastrophe to our human race, he would really be a talent worthy of our focus. Sigh, what a pity. That's enough, saying these things now won't help the situation. The Pagoda Master's supreme and imperious voice could be heard. A total of 15 unruly senior Devilman have arrived at the Devilman Tower, or are on their way to the Devilman Tower. These people will be young Xiaofan's opponents this time. Fighting for the 1650th rank. Yes, Tower Master. Among the 15 opponents of Xiaofan, the strongest was Ingzhantian, who was ranked 1458th on the Devilman ranking 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Ingzhantian was injured by the mutated demon emperor and was forced to give up his ranking. After 20 years of dormancy, he made a comeback this time and wanted to regain the glory that once belonged to him. Ingzhantian had always been ambitious. He had already reached the talisman transformation realm 20 years ago. He was full of ambition and would become the most popular candidate for the ranking challenge. He wondered if Xiaofan would be able to defeat Ingzhantian. Get the 1650th place. Pagoda Master, Xiaofan shouldn't be able to actively trigger the demon clan's origin energy in his heart right now. He's competing with so many veteran heroes with outstanding battle records and unparalleled achievements. Among them, there's no lack of ruthless people like Ingzhantian. On the surface, Xiaofan has no chance of winning. The Pagoda Master's voice sounded again. It's fine. Based on Xiaofan's temperament, if he were to lose the ranking challenge, it would cast a shadow over his heart. It might even give birth to inner demons. If that was the case, his future cultivation would be stagnant. If Xiaofan's own cultivation base couldn't increase, and he couldn't become stronger, then the demonic clan's origin energy in his heart wouldn't be able to possess him. If that's the case, we won't have to suppress Xiaofan anymore. We can just let him live and die on his own. Of course, this will make a genius depressed, but it's better than being sentenced to death, right? Yes, Pagoda Master. Xiaofan's path of growth has been smooth sailing. From the time he participated in the Hex Hero trial to the time he hunted the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor, it was more daunting than dangerous. It can be said that once such a person suffers a setback or a blow, it will be difficult for him to get over it. He might even be depressed and give up on himself. It seems that there won't be any deaths in the Hex Hero ranking challenge this time, but it has already forced Xiaofan to a dead end. The path of cultivation is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. The Pagoda Master pondered for a moment and continued. If Xiaofan succeeds in breaking through and defeating the other 15 strong competitors, it'll be enough to show that he's a deity who descended from the heavens and has great luck. He might be able to achieve great things in the future. The stronger he is, the more dangerous he will be. Therefore, if he gets this ranking, we can only act according to our original plan. Let Xiaofan go to the demon capital and assassinate the great traitor of the human race, Yan Lang. Regardless of whether he succeeds or fails, it'll be beneficial to the human race. The Pagoda Master is farsighted and has taken every possibility into account. If Xiaofan really kills the great traitor Yan Lang, there will no longer be such a powerful medicine refiner in this world to help the demon race refine all kinds of treasured medicines. This will be a fatal blow to the demon race. If Xiaofan fails, he will definitely be killed by the demon race, which will also eliminate a source of trouble. Moreover, the most optimistic outcome is that when Xiaofan fights with the demon race, his chest will explode, and the demon origin energy in his heart will burst out and devour the demon race on a large scale, causing countless deaths and injuries of the demon race in the demon capital. Oh, it's unlikely that Xiaofan will succeed in assassinating Yan Lang. The demon capital is heavily guarded. It's the nest of the demon race. Even if Xiaofan can successfully sneak into the demon capital, it will be difficult for him to get close to Yan Lang. The demon race will not allow anything to happen to Yan Lang. They will definitely strictly protect him and will not let any stranger from the human race or the demon race get close to him. No matter what, we feel guilty for scheming against Xiaofan like this. There's no need to say more. If we want to blame someone, we can only blame the demon origin energy in Xiaofan's heart. We can't play around with the safety of the entire human race, right? That's fate. Xiaofan's fate is not good. Pagoda Master, this year's Devil Hero ranking challenge will be held on the Giant Whale Island, in 2 days. We will send an ancient tycoon on the Devil Hero ranking to host the competition. Pagoda Master, don't worry. There won't be any mistakes. Good. However, speaking of which, I'm also very conflicted. On one hand, I hope that Xiaofan can defeat all the heroes and successfully get this ranking. On the other hand, I hope that Xiaofan will lose and be an ordinary devil hero in the future. Sigh, Xiaofan's fate is in his own hands. Let's just wait and see. On the 429th floor of the Devil Hero Tower, room 765, 10 times Room of Spirit. Xiaofan's saber aura was rolling like a long river. Xiaofan had been in seclusion for a full 4 days and 4 nights. In these 4 days and 4 nights, Xiaofan forgot to eat and sleep. He focused on the Tao of Saber. He had no one and no self, but he actually improved at lightning speed. He had also shattered the love and desire of the 7 emotions and the body of the 6 desires. Now, Xiaofan was only left with the evil of the 7 emotions and the intent of the 6 desires. They had not been successfully shattered. Once evil and intent were shattered, Xiaofan would directly comprehend the saber intent of the great accomplishment stage. His battle strength soared. Chapter 266. Xiaofan cultivated his saber intent in the 10 times room of intellect, almost in a state of no one and no me. In terms of cultivating saber intent, Xiaofan was unique and had traces to follow. It could even be said that Xiaofan cultivated according to the map, unlike other sabersmen who could not find a way out and could only rely on sudden inspiration to capture the ethereal saber intent. Poof! In the surging saber aura that lingered around Xiaofan's body, there was a sound of breaking. The evil of the 7 emotions was finally broken. In other words, so far, Xiaofan had successfully broken the 7 emotions, leaving only the intent of the 6 desires. Once the intent of the 6 desires was broken, Xiaofan's saber intent would be complete, and his body would produce his natal saber aura, which meant that Xiaofan had officially entered the great accomplishment saber intent and would become an outstanding sabersman in the world. But at this time, Xiaofan's entire body was filled with a feeling of being drained and hollowed out. Even in the 10 times room of intellect, he appeared to be in a trance and tired state. He even felt a little dizzy. For the past 4 days, I have been in seclusion to comprehend the saber intent. Now I am only one step away from being able to produce the great accomplishment saber intent in my body, but I am tired. I am exhausted. I can't do it in one go. Xiaofan shook his head. At this moment, a message was sent from the chivalrous token. It was from Wu Bai. Okay, Xiaofan, end your cultivation. Tomorrow morning, you will go to Giant Whale Island to participate in the chivalrous ranking challenge. Now come out of the room of intellect. Yes, Sect Master. Xiaofan stood up, shook his head, and walked out of the room of intellect. On the 29th floor of the chivalrous tower. In the resting area. It was late at night. In the private room. In addition to Wu Bai, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling, Mu Zixi also arrived. Xiaofan returned to the private room. Xiaofan, you don't have to cultivate tonight. Have a good rest. Tomorrow morning, you will go to the venue of the chivalrous ranking challenge, Giant Whale Island, Mu Zixi said to Xiaofan. Giant Whale Island? Xiaofan was stunned. Mu Zixi nodded. Yes. The Giant Whale Island was an island in the Yaoxia region. Legend has it that it was transformed from a giant whale in the primordial era. Heh. Of course, this is just a legend that has not been verified. However, Giant Whale Island was rich in spiritual energy, and there were even spirit veins that had appeared. It was more suitable for cultivation. Today, it would be used as the venue for the ranking challenge. The one presiding over this competition is an ancient powerhouse. Ranked in the top 100 on the monster ranking list, known as an immortal legend who will never fall, and is suspected to be an immortal? Xiaofan couldn't help but exclaim in shock. Ha ha ha, Xiaofan, don't panic. With an ancient giant presiding over the ranking competition, the death rate of participants like you will be reduced to the minimum. There will be practically no risk at all. Mu Zixi smiled and said. That way, you can relax. That's right. Junior brother Xiaofan, with the ancient powerhouses present, you'll be able to control the situation. Even if the other participants want to kill you, you'll be able to stop them at the crucial moment. Of course, if you want to kill someone, it won't be easy. It's almost impossible to kill someone in front of an ancient giant without his permission. Dongfang Qin also laughed. Oh. So that's how it is. I understand now. Xiaofan nodded slightly. However, there were many questions in his heart. I guess that the higher-ups of the Monster Hero Tower instigated me to participate in the Monster Hero ranking challenge. It might be a conspiracy against me. However, judging from the current situation, everything seemed to be in order, and there wasn't the slightest hint of a conspiracy. What is going on? At this time, Mu Zishi continued, Xiaofan, tomorrow morning, the map of Giant Whale Island will be automatically entered into your Monster Hero token. At that time, you can activate the flying formation in the Monster Hero token, and you'll be able to go directly to the venue, Giant Whale Island, under the guidance of the map. Your 15 opponents will also be in position. Tomorrow morning, they'll also fly to Giant Whale Island. I've already received reliable information that the most popular person in this Monster Hero ranking challenge is Xiaofan, who gave up his ranking 20 years ago and retired to the mountains. Today, he's making a comeback and wants to suppress all the heroes and restore his glory. Xiaofan, who reached the talisman transformation realm 20 years ago and condensed his true chi into talismans, is ranked 1458 on the Monster Hero ranking list. So it's him. Wu Li hesitated for a moment. Xiaofan is indeed a talented person. He has had many fortuitous encounters since he was young. He is said to have inherited the legacy of an ancient powerful person. Moreover, in the secular world, he holds a high position and controls a dynasty in the northern region. After a pause, Wu Li continued, 20 years ago, the reason why Xiaofan retired was because he fought with a mutated demon emperor and was seriously injured. It seems that after 20 years of seclusion, not only did he not lose his ambition, but he became courageous after his shame and worked hard to make a comeback. Xiaofan, this person is not easy to deal with. He's much stronger than the likes of the great Sun Emperor. Sect Master, since I've decided to participate in this ranking challenge, I won't back down. No matter how difficult the opponent is, I have to try. Moreover, I can accumulate more experience by competing with opponents of this level. It will be easier for me to break through to the expanded aperture realm in the future. Xiaofan's eyes flashed with determination. Knowing the difficulty. Seeing this, Wu Li, Mu Zishi and the others were surprised. They did not expect that Xiaofan, at such a young age, would possess courage that was 1,000 times greater than his body and age. This was indeed rare. Xiaofan, you are a young man, full of courage. I have seen countless people in my life, but it is rare to see someone as courageous as you. Now, I have even more confidence in you. Alright, I won't disturb your rest. Tomorrow morning, the basic information of your 15 competitors will be transferred into your Xenochivalrous token. At that time, you can think about it carefully. I'll take my leave now. With that, Mu Zishi left the private room. Wu Li specially booked a private room for Xiaofan, so that Xiaofan could rest in peace. Xiaofan entered the quiet private room, lay on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, Xiaofan did a carp flip and got out of bed. After a night's rest, Xiaofan was now full of energy. His vitality had been adjusted to its peak. At this moment, the Xenochivalrous token was activated. A huge amount of information was passed in. Xiaofan's mind moved, and his mind fluctuated. First, he saw a map, branded into the Xenochivalrous token. It was the venue of the ranking challenge, the map of Giant Whale Island. Then, there was a list, Xiaofan. Originally ranked 1458 on the Xenochivalrous ranking, 7 Knights Demon Lord. Ranked 1700 on the Xenochivalrous ranking, Great Sun Emperor. Ranked 1701 on the Xenochivalrous ranking, Lu Weiniang. Ranked 1777 on the Xenochivalrous ranking, Thousand Sword Gentleman. Ranked 1788 on the Xenochivalrous ranking, Xiong Baishan. Ranked 1800 on the Xenochivalrous ranking. This list contained a total of 15 names, and their situation on the Xenochivalrous ranking was clear at a glance. These were Xiaofan's 15 competitors in the Hex Hero ranking challenge. Amazing, these people are all ruthless characters. I'm afraid any one of them will be a tyrant in the secular world. Xiaofan sighed. He also walked out of the private room. Xiaofan, Wu Li, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling were already waiting outside the private room. Xiaofan, you are about to set off for the giant whale island. Wu Li looked at Xiaofan. According to the rules, we can't accompany you to the giant whale island. Take care of yourself. We will wait for the good news in the Xenochivalrous Tower. I hope you can continue to create miracles. However, if you can't do it, you don't have to force yourself. You are still young, and there are many opportunities. Yes, Sect Master, Senior Brother Dongfang, Senior Brother Fang Ling, Xiaofan will be careful, and will not be greedy. I have also received the list of 15 competitors. Indeed, all of them are difficult to deal with. They are not easy to deal with. Xiaofan, I am relieved that you can think this way. Remember, don't be too proud of yourself. Xiaofan, you can cultivate to where you are today because you have had a great encounter. But you have to know that all the top-ranked Xenochivalrous ranking have had a great encounter. Even Dongfang and Fang Ling, who are not ranked 5,000 on the list, have had a lot of encounters. Moreover, the ranking of the opponents you obtained is only the ranking that was decided after the last decade Saint War. Several years have passed, and everyone is improving. Some of the actual combat power of some of the Xenochivalrous has actually surpassed their current ranking. After saying so much, I hope that you, Xiaofan, will consider yourself weak and fight steadily. Don't be arrogant and conceited. Alright, it's almost time. Xiaofan, you can go now. Yes, Sect Master. I will remember your warning. I will go to the giant whale island now. Senior Brother Dongfang, Senior Brother Fang Ling, I will take my leave. Xiaofan nodded at Wu Li and the others and left the Xenochivalrous Tower. I wonder if Junior Brother Xiaofan can continue to advance triumphantly this time. Logically speaking, he should be able to compete with the senior Xenochivalrous heroes who are participating in the ranking challenge this time since he can kill the Azure Dragon Demon Emperor. Dongfang Qin watched Xiaofan leave. Let's wait for Xiaofan here patiently. Fang Ling said. Swoosh, after leaving the Xenochivalrous Tower, it was dawn outside. The morning sun had just risen, and the thousands of mountains looked like they were on fire. The sun instantly lit up the sky, driving away the stars and the waning moon. Xiaofan took out the Xenochivalrous token and activated the flying formation in it. Guided by the map of the giant whale island, he flew straight up into the sky and instantly disappeared into the clouds. After flying for a few hours, he entered a blue sea. He continued to fly. Not long after, a gigantic island entered Xiaofan's line of sight. It was an island that looked like an ancient giant whale. It was boundless. There were all kinds of terrains on the island, barren hills, deserts, stone forests, bamboo seas. There were also primitive jungles overgrown with hazel bushes and mountain ranges intertwined with spiritual energy. This was the giant whale island. Mist and the glow of treasures floated above the entire island, causing the colossal whale island to appear extremely beautiful, as if it was a celestial island. We're here. Xiaofan slowed down his flying speed, feeling a little excited. At this moment, boom, in the sky, a powerful and wild aura swept past as a beam of light shot directly into the giant whale island. Xiaofan could vaguely see a man wearing luxurious battle armor walking within the beam of light. His entire body was emitting an ancient and desolate aura. In a breath, he exploded with the power to destroy a planet. Oh. He's a contestant. A veteran Xenochivalrous warrior. He's my opponent. Xiaofan immediately understood. Just as he finished his thought, a sharp bolt of lightning suddenly exploded in the void without any warning. Instantly, thunder rumbled and all the air exploded. The space crystal wall cracked inch by inch, and traces of spider webs appeared in the sky. A long-haired man in a black robe, whose hair was surrounded by lightning, flew through the air and entered the giant whale island. Another strong opponent. Xiaofan nodded silently. Immediately after, a bright moon rose from the end of the sea. The graceful moonlight covered the surface of the sea. A woman with an ethereal temperament like a painting quietly stepped on the moonlight and walked toward the giant whale island. Her blue robe fluttered. She was breathtakingly beautiful, like pearls and jade. Her skin was sparkling and translucent, and her body was surrounded by brilliant light. She stepped onto the giant whale island unhurriedly, as if she had come to participate in a banquet. Damn, another one. Xiaofan was still in the air. He didn't immediately step onto the giant whale island. He looked left and right. A red light appeared on the northern horizon. Not long after, the red light became brighter and brighter, dyeing the surrounding sky red as if it was burning. A figure flew over at a speed several times faster than the speed of sound and landed on the island. Looking at the back, it was a middle-aged man. He was tall and sturdy, and his joints were thick. At the same time, a large patch of white clouds in the sky was torn apart like a piece of cloth. A formless blade intent cut through all things, even the formless and intangible air was cut open. The sky was filled with blade intent. A sharp bladesman also landed on the island. Blade intent? Xiaofan was affected by the blade intent. His blood surged, and he almost vomited. It's also a blade intent close to great achievement. It's slightly more powerful than my current blade intent. Moreover, his blade intent has been baptized by countless battles, so it's even more invasive. It suppressed my blade intent immediately. Xiaofan hurriedly used the spirit turtle's true qi to seal up his blade intent. Only then was he not affected. Just like that, the experts arrived one after another and set foot on the giant whale island. Each of these experts had multicolored lights and divine rainbows shooting out from their bodies, producing a myriad of strange phenomena. Their auras were all extremely powerful, and they all had the kind of aura of an angry monarch. Their auras surged and spread out, as if they were mountains pressing down on all directions. Competing for a ranking with these experienced heroes. Compared to this, the selection of heroes last time really was weak. Xiaofan shook his head gently. Whatever. I'll go to the giant whale island first. Xiaofan thought of something and was about to set foot on the island. However, at this moment, boom! A blazing sun fell from 10,000 meters high in the sky. This blazing sun illuminated the world. It was grand and magnificent. Wherever it passed, there was an aura that could burn everything. The trajectory of this blazing sun was originally going to land on the giant whale island. However, it suddenly stopped in front of Xiaofan. Within the blazing sun, a man walked out. This man was dressed in a golden robe. The outline of his face was like a sculpture, cold and resolute. His eyes were like a heavenly king's, as if he was born to attract light. As soon as he appeared, it was as if he was the only one in the world. He was filled with an invincible spirit and confidence. The smell of controlling spring and autumn rushed into the sky. In an instant, a sonorous hymn rushed out of the man's body. Golden sunlight shone in all directions, and in each ray of sunlight, one could vaguely see the shadows of countless living beings praying and worshipping. It was the Great Sun Emperor. The Great Sun Emperor stood in front of Xiaofan. His divine might was awe-inspiring, as if a god had descended. Xiaofan. The Great Sun Emperor stared at Xiaofan. The blazing sun floated above his head. The divine light was dense like a tide. Within the blazing sun, a god sat cross-legged. His eyes were closed, but he was brewing a terrifying might and power. Oh, the Great Sun Emperor, long time no see. Xiaofan laughed coldly and stared at the Great Sun Emperor without blinking. Under the majestic aura of the Great Sun Emperor, Xiaofan's face was actually fearless and he faced him calmly. This caused a strange feeling to well up in the heart of the Great Sun Emperor. he couldn't help but blurt out. The world is really unpredictable. Back then, I could kill an ant whenever I wanted. Now, he has actually grown up. Never would I have thought. Ha 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 ha, the great Sun Emperor, I remember now. Back then, at the border of the proud Sun Empire, you bullied the weak because you coveted my secrets. You actually went crazy and wanted to lay your hands on me. Ha ha ha, you hypocrite. Sanctimonious. But it's a pity that the me now is not the same as before. You no longer have the chance to bully me. Moreover, the humiliation and oppression you have given me, sooner or later, I will make you pay. Xiaofan laughed and looked at the great Sun Emperor. His eyes were filled with provocation. Opposing each other. In terms of aura, he was definitely not afraid of the great Sun Crown Prince. Humph. Despicable person. The great Sun Emperor was enraged. Xiaofan, the achievements you have today are all because of the methods of the demon race. You have long gone astray and abandoned yourself. A small character will always be a small character. A despicable person will always be a despicable person. Perhaps, since you have come to participate in the ranking competition, then I, the great Sun Emperor, will definitely find a chance to clean up for the entire demon race. Get lost. Xiaofan laughed and scolded. If I find a chance, I will still kill you. Just wait and see. Finishing his words, Xiaofan didn't even look back as he stepped onto the giant whale island. Roar. A small character dares to provoke me. Courting death. The great Sun Emperor's eyes were about to pop out as he let out a roar. At the same time, above his head, the deity within the blazing sun opened his mouth slightly and let out a mysterious and majestic voice. This voice vibrated violently, containing sharpness, holiness, decisiveness and anger. All the syllables were like a cluster of volcanoes, erupting at the same time. Overwhelming the heavens and earth. Xiaofan, I will never let you go. The great Sun Emperor also stepped onto the giant whale island. Chapter 267. On Giant Whale Island, a storm was brewing. The 16 contestants, including Xiaofan, who were competing for the 1650th position in the Hex Hero ranking competition, had all entered Giant Whale Island. At this time, the sky was gradually turning dark. Under the blood-red setting sun, there was a valley with withered vines wrapped around green stones on the island. Birds were returning to their nests. Fallen leaves were falling, and the environment was a little desolate. However, in such a valley, there were as many as 16 powerhouses of the human clan. These 16 people were all Hex heroes who were the mainstays of the world today. Although among them, there were no Hex heroes ranked within the top 1000, but they were the most promising competitors for the Hex heroes in the future. All of their experiences were immortal legends. They had killed countless beasts and made great contributions to the world. They were all geniuses among geniuses, outstanding. If the geniuses who participated in the Hex Hero Trial competition were described as semi-finished products, then the 16 people in front of them were all finished products that had been sculpted by blood and fire. The geniuses who died and died were no longer geniuses. No one would remember them. Only the geniuses who were alive, who had experienced many cruel battles and still stood tall, were the real geniuses. Now, these 16 people were either crouching like tigers or coiling dragons, or standing like lone cranes, or standing straight like javelins, or sitting cross-legged, or resting with their eyes closed, or walking around. Each of them had a fierce and threatening aura, as if they could pierce through anything, break anything, and crush anything. They were extremely powerful. Moreover, a few of them had a feeling that they were about to break through the void, fly away with the wind, or even break out of their cocoons and become butterflies. They gave people an unparalleled spiritual pressure. There were similar marks on the Emperor of the Sun. Xiaofan knew that these were the signs of a possible breakthrough. They were the signs of ascending from the acupoint expanding realm to the talisman transforming realm. A thin line. Maybe in this competition, there was a possibility of a breakthrough. In fact, the Hex heroes who participated in the ranking competition were not purely for the ranking, but more to accumulate experience and gain valuable experience from talking to the strong, so that they could break through to the next realm. Xiaofan casually sat on a protruding rock, and kept observing his opponents from the corner of his eyes. Among the 15 opponents, there were 3 women. According to the information Xiaofan had obtained, the 3 women were Lu Weining, who was ranked 1777 on the demon ranking, Fairy Haoyu, who was ranked 1802, and Luo Fanghua, who was ranked 2002. The 3 women were either graceful and noble, ethereal and graceful, or valiant and formidable looking, and they were truly a perfect match for each other. Each of them had their own charm and bearing. A black-robed, long-haired man with lightning crackling in his hair appeared. His eyes were clear and bright, and his appearance was otherworldly. Lightning from the 9 heavens formed runes around his body, and all types of lightning dragons, lightning snakes, and lightning birds continuously appeared and disappeared. He spoke for the first time, breaking the oppressive atmosphere. I heard that the chief examiner of the ranking competition this time is an ancient giant. I wonder when he came to Giant Whale Island. Perhaps they've already arrived here, and are secretly observing us. Lu Weining, one of the 3 women, smiled sweetly. Her entire body was covered in mist, and her style was unmatched. Tang Fong, you've improved a lot these past few years. You've also finished expanding your meridians 10 times, and you're preparing to transform your true qi into a talisman. Heh, Tang Fong, you're born with a lightning bloodline. You can summon the 9 heavens divine lightning to kill your enemies. Once you transform your true qi into a talisman, it'll definitely be a lightning talisman. That'll be impressive. Heh, Weining, likewise. You've also improved by leaps and bounds. The black-robed, long-haired man with lightning crackling at his hair smiled modestly. Born with a lightning bloodline is nothing special. After entering the talisman transformation realm, who's stronger and who's weaker mainly depends on your accumulation and foundation. Tang Fong, you expanded your meridians 10 times, 43 times. Heh, in terms of accumulation, you're still a little immature. The Emperor of the Sun smiled awkwardly. Oh. Emperor of the Sun, you expanded your meridians 10 times, 47 times. Very impressive. Tang Fong's expression changed. Yes, you expanded your meridians 4 times more than me. However, if we really fight, you probably won't be my opponent. I was born with a lightning bloodline, and cultivating the 9 heavens divine lightning true qi complements each other. Ever since I started cultivating, I've rarely met an opponent. Ha ha ha. Tang Fong, don't worry. In this ranking competition, if we have a battle, I, the Emperor of the Sun, will definitely accompany you. I'll also let you witness the power of the Great Sun Heart Sutra. The Emperor of the Sun laughed coldly. Alright, let's not quarrel. Although we're all arrogant and unruly, and no one is willing to submit to anyone easily, but I have to say that everyone has improved greatly. If we really fight, no one can say for sure that they'll win. Let's not argue. Since we're all here, if we want to fight, we'll have plenty of opportunities to do so. A middle-aged man with a straight nose and a square mouth said with a faint smile. His aura was smooth and flawless, and he was deep and unfathomable. This person's words were extremely appropriate, as though he had considered every issue, and all the details were extremely thorough. He looked at the big picture in everything, and his words were also very graceful. He had the demeanor of a natural leader. This is the Devil Hero ranking, ranked 1811, Zhuge Xing. Xiaofan looked at the middle-aged man, and with a slight scan of the Devil Hero token, he knew the background of this person. We're all old comrades, and also old opponents. To be able to cultivate to this level, which one of us is mediocre? In a few years, all of you must have made great progress. The ranking of the last 10 years Holy War can now be completely overturned. We must rearrange the ranking. However, there are still a few years before the next 10 years Holy War. I've long been itching to fight. In this ranking challenge, let me test the extent of everyone's progress. Those who don't make great progress will definitely be replaced by the latecomers. Survival of the fittest. The Thousand Sword Gentleman, ranked 1788 on the Devil Hero ranking, said coldly and arrogantly. The sword chi all over his body was like a rainbow, emitting the spirit of a sword cultivator from the inside out. He would rather break than bend in pursuit of victory. He. The Seven Knights Devil Young Master, ranked 1700 on the Devil Hero ranking, laughed sinisterly and did not speak. Ha 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 ha. Loud laughter sounded. It came from Ing Zhantian. 20 years ago, Ing Zhantian had already occupied the 1458th place on the Devil Hero ranking. With his hands behind his back, his eyes were like a god's, and his aura was like that of an ancient demonic bird. There was no one could compete with him. It was as though he was a natural king, and his aura was disdainful of the world. His laughter contained endless mockery. This time, I, Ing Zhantian, will definitely take this ranking. Ha 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 ha, this is the first gift that I, Ing Zhantian, have returned to the martial world. This is also a ranking that I, Ing Zhantian, deserve. Don't argue. Your strength is not enough, so don't be delusional. In this ranking challenge, you are all just foils and embellishments. Ha ha ha. Oh. Ing Zhantian? Yes, 20 years ago, you were ranked first on the Devil Hero ranking. But 20 years have passed, and the world has changed. Many things are no longer under your control. We may not necessarily lose to you. Xiong Baishan, ranked first on the Devil Hero ranking, was the first to shout. Humph. I won't argue with you juniors. When the competition starts, I will make all of you bow down to me. I, Ing Zhantian, am destined to be invincible and take back everything that belongs to me. Ing Zhantian's tone was very arrogant, with a kind of majestic and domineering arrogance. At this moment, Ing Zhantian's eyes turned and found that Xiaofan was staring at him intently. Oh. You are the young devil hero Xiaofan who has been in the limelight recently, right? I heard that you killed a high-level demon emperor, so you were recognized by the higher-ups. They made an exception to let you participate in the Devil Hero ranking challenge that you are not qualified to participate in. Ha ha ha. I see that you are only about 20 years old. It hasn't been long since you became a Devil Hero, and you are already in the limelight everywhere. Even if you have some talent, you are still too immature. This game is not something that you can afford to play. Ing Zhantian's attitude towards Xiaofan was full of undisguised disdain. Xiaofan smiled faintly. Whether or not I can afford to play this game is not up to you to decide. Ing Zhantian, right? Senior Devil Hero, you have dominated the world since 20 years ago. However, you have to be careful this time. Otherwise, there is a possibility of failure. Oh. You talk back to me like this? Interesting, very interesting. Well, Xiaofan. I, Ing Zhantian, will now completely remember you. You are really tough. But you are still too weak at the moment. It is true that your bones are hard, but your strength is weak and your bones are hard. Disaster is imminent. You better pray for yourself now. Don't meet me in this competition, otherwise, I will teach you how to behave. Ing Zhantian grinned a few times, a cold murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Xiaofan did not care. But he did not say anything more. Lu Weining was very friendly. She stood beside Xiaofan, tilted her head and smiled at Xiaofan, whispering, Xiaofan, senior devil heroes like Ing Zhantian are the most aloof. You are still young and your realm is far below his. It is not wise for you to be so arrogant in front of him." As she spoke, Lu Weiniang's voice was as thin as gossamer, so low that only Xiaofan could hear it. "Xiaofan, this person is famous for being narrow-minded. You have to be more careful in the competition to prevent him from retaliating against you." "Thank you for the reminder, Senior Lu." Xiaofan thanked her repeatedly. "Ah. Why are you calling me senior?" Lu Weiniang actually lost her composure when she heard this. "Am I that old?" Xiaofan was embarrassed. But he thought to himself, all of you here are probably much older than me, aren't you? At least several times older than me. At this moment. Well, all the contestants have arrived at Giant Whale Island. So, the competition for the 1650th seat in this year's Devil Hero Ranking Challenge will begin. A voice that could be called mighty rang out in the sky. In an instant, all 16 people in the valley, including Xiaofan, felt a powerful wave of true energy emanating from it. This true energy seemed to envelop the entire Giant Whale Island within it. Xiaofan could not help but look up, and was instantly horrified. In the sky, like a mirage, a figure that was 1,000 feet tall appeared. This figure was like an ancient Buddha or a deity, worthy of worship. Then, a huge aura engulfed the entire Giant Whale Island. But soon, the 300-meter-tall figure in the sky shrank. In the end, a middle-aged man walked down from the sky. He wore white clothes that fluttered like the clouds. The aura on his body was unfathomable. Furthermore, it felt as if he had never cultivated in martial arts at first glance. His entire body exuded a natural aura, as if he had returned to his true self. Following his appearance, there was an ethereal sound in the sky and on the ground. It was hazy, indistinct, and full of artistic conception. But it was very strange. Although there was no fluctuation of vital energy from this middle-aged man, the entire Giant Whale Island was filled with the fluctuation of vital energy. It was extremely mysterious. Moreover, there was a peerless majesty that could not be concealed between his eyebrows. Every movement of his body emitted a huge aura. This aura did not seem to be brewed by any vital energy or cultivation method, but the aura emitted by the middle-aged man himself. It was as if every cell in his body was filled with an irresistible aura. In the valley, the auras created by the 16 people, including Xiaofan, instantly crumbled under the aura that the middle-aged man casually emitted, turning into ashes. So powerful, too powerful. This person can directly suppress me spiritually, suppressing me so tightly that I don't even have the chance to resist. He makes me feel a huge difference in the level of life. It's like heaven and earth. I'm no match for him. Even if I use all my trump cards, use all my demonic techniques, or even transform into the Azure Dragon, I'm still no match for him. Not only am I no match for him, but I can also be killed in a second. Of course, it wasn't just me. Everyone here, including the arrogant Ing Zhantian, would definitely be instantly killed by this almighty being. There is no room for struggle. What kind of realm is this? This is the legendary Eternal Giant? The giant who ranks in the top 100 on the Hex Hero list, the guardian of our human race? An existence that would never fall, would never die, would never be destroyed, and would never fall? Suspected to be an immortal? What's his ranking among the Eternal Giants? Xiaofan was completely shocked. Too powerful, really too powerful. His aura is stronger than that of Sect Master and Mu Zishi, and also surpasses any of the examiners I met in the Hex Hero trial. If I hadn't seen this kind of person, I wouldn't have known that there is such a powerful existence in this world. Of course, the spiritual wave that spied on the secret in my heart was also extremely powerful, but I didn't see him in person, so I didn't have the visual impact of facing this Eternal Giant. The Eternal Giant, the middle-aged man in white, slowly walked into the valley. So that the 16 contestants, including Xiaofan, faced him. Other than Xiaofan, the other 15 people were all stunned. They kept their mouths shut and cowered, as if they were thieves who had been caught red-handed. They were extremely guilty and didn't dare to face Xiaofan. Well, you're all very good. You all have a chance to compete for this position. The ancient giant's gaze swept through the crowd. In an instant, everyone present felt as if their bodies had been completely exposed by a mysterious force. There was not a single secret that could be hidden. Xiaofan was even more nervous. He used the spirit turtle true qi to seal his heart tightly. But fortunately, the demon egg hibernating in his heart was not seen through by the eternal giant. This made Xiaofan feel lucky. This eternal giant, how should I address you? Even with Zhantian's conceit and arrogance, when facing this eternal giant, he was scared and had to use honorifics. The eternal giant waved his hand. You don't need to know my name and ranking. What you need to do next is to do your best in this ranking challenge. Well, now come with me. From now on, this Hex Hero ranking challenge officially begins. Come with me. To be continued. Chapter 268. Looking at the examiner, the arrival of an ancient giant indicated that this year's Devilman ranking L battle had officially begun. The 16 contestants were going to compete fiercely for the 1650th place on the monster ranking list. Everyone, please follow me. The ancient giant smiled and walked out of the valley slowly, stepping on the withered leaves. His entire body emitted a mysterious aura, as if everything was under his control. Under the influence of the giant's aura, the disobedient and dissolute veteran swordsmen all became well-behaved and knew their place. They did not even dare to breathe too loudly. All of them were extremely obedient as they followed behind the ancient giant. Xiaofan silently followed at the back of the group. Out of the valley, there was a long path lined with fresh flowers and fragrant flowers. No one spoke a word along the way. At the end of the long path, they saw a towering mountain rising into the sky. The mountain was about 10,000 zhang tall, like a sharp sword piercing the sky. It was like a divine mountain, causing those who stood at the foot of the mountain to feel extreme pressure, suffocation, and palpitations. It was as if they were facing an ancient giant. The mountain was grayish-brown in color, without any vegetation covering it. It exuded an ancient and mysterious aura, as if time had passed. What a majestic mountain, it makes people feel like they can't climb it. Xiaofan involuntarily stopped in his tracks, his heart filled with admiration. The ancient giant also stopped at the foot of the mountain, then turned around. The 16 contestants, including Xiaofan, stood in a row, looking at the ancient giant suspiciously. What were they going to do now? Fight at the foot of the mountain, and the winner would be the king? Or to see who would be able to climb over this divine mountain? Everyone, today's ranking challenge competition has officially begun. This ranking challenge competition is similar to the Monster Hero selection competition that all of you have participated in before. It is not only a test of the contestants' martial prowess, but also a test of luck. It is mysterious. As a matter of fact, as a martial artist, luck would accompany him throughout his life and was indispensable. Speaking of this, the ancient giant's eyes narrowed slightly and he sighed in a low voice, when you reach my level of cultivation, you will find that sometimes luck is even more important than strength. Alas, back in those days, all my old brothers were outstanding geniuses, but along the way, they all fell one by one. It just so happened that I, a good-for-nothing person, finally entered the top 0 of the Devilman ranking list and became the ancient giant that you guys mentioned. Alas. It's all because of time, luck, and fate. It's not something I can do. Hearing this ancient giant ramble on, all the participants looked at each other in dismay, not knowing what he was trying to do. Everyone, listen up. Although the Hex Hero ranking challenge and the Hex Hero trial were different routes to the same goal and coincide. However, the competition schedule was much shorter. Let's also use the method of passing the test. However, there were only 2 checkpoints. There are a total of 16 of you. After going through 2 checkpoints, the last one will get the 1650th place on the Devilman list. Do you understand? The ancient giant smiled at the participants. Oh. So that's how it is. There are 2 checkpoints, layers of screening. Out of the 16, 15 will be eliminated, and the last one will get the 1650th place. Xiaofan nodded to himself. For Xiaofan, who had just participated in the Hex Hero trial, this kind of competition system was not unfamiliar. On the contrary, it made it easier for Xiaofan to accept. The other 15 senior devilmen also nodded their heads. This ancient giant, we have completely understood what you mean. Then, may I ask, what is the content of the first checkpoint? The Emperor of the Sun asked impatiently. He had a sense of eagerness to win. Ha ha ha, don't be impatient. It's just 2 checkpoints, it won't make you feel complicated and long. The ancient giant said confidently. Alright, I will talk about the first checkpoint. In the first checkpoint, out of the 16 of you, 8 people will be eliminated. The remaining 8 people will successfully enter the second checkpoint. The first checkpoint, 16 to enter. Half of the elimination rate. The participants all quieted down, held their breath, pricked up their ears, and listened carefully. The first checkpoint is to climb this ancient sacred mountain. The ancient giant finally announced the content of the first checkpoint. It really is to climb a mountain. A few of the participants exclaimed in their hearts. However, they also vaguely felt that something was wrong. The first checkpoint was actually to climb a mountain. Although this ancient sacred mountain emitted an unsurpassable aura that made people's hearts palpitate, and ordinary people didn't even have the courage to climb it. But for these senior devilmen, which one of them wasn't an unfathomable big shot that could travel 1,000 miles in an instant? Asking them to climb a mountain was a little too much. Ha ha ha, of course, as the first checkpoint of the Hex Hero ranking competition, this sacred mountain is not so easy to climb. The ancient giant laughed. In the next moment, he waved his sleeves. Streaks of mist and rare godly light surged out from the ancient giant's sleeves like thousands of galloping horses. It enveloped the body of the ancient sacred mountain. All of a sudden, 16 holes appeared on the grayish-brown mountain. These 16 caves were the entrance to a tunnel. Each of them was the same size, and they all emitted a glazed luster. Endless airflow surrounded them, and the light was distorted. On the surface, these 16 caves were exactly the same, and there was no difference. Oh! Xiaofan was stunned. Then, an idea flashed through his mind. I know now. The so-called climbing over the mountain is actually a trick. I don't really need to climb over the ancient mountain, but to pass through these caves. Then, 16 caves and 1 tunnel must be hiding an unknown danger, and it will be a test for the participants. 16 participants, each of you will choose a path. As expected, the ancient giant said. To put it simply, only one person will be able to successfully pass through this sacred mountain. Oh. I see. I see. This is the so-called top 16 to top 8. The contestants were all clear now. Ancient giant, is this what you mean by luck? One of the corridors is the path of life, which allows one to pass directly through the mountain and advance to the next trial. There is also the path of death. Those who choose the path of death will be trapped in the belly of the mountain and eliminated, Ingzhan Tian said cautiously. However, there was a feeling of discomfort in his heart. It must be known that Ingzhan Tian was already invincible among this group of participants in terms of cultivation base and combat strength. Therefore, Ingzhan Tian was not afraid of fighting alone or against a group. Instead, he was excited to use his tyrannical methods to kill. Ting had overcome all the obstacles along the way, suppressing all the outstanding talents, and finally obtained the 1650th ranking. But now, it seemed that luck was more important in the rules, and the first stage was actually a choice between the path of life and path of death. The displeasure in Ing Zhantian's heart was clear on his face. Oh! The ancient giant smiled at Ing Zhantian. You are Ing Zhantian, right? I've heard of you. As early as 20 years ago, you were ranked within the 1560th place on the Devilman list. If you hadn't encountered a mutated demon emperor and escaped with injuries, I'm afraid you would have been a giant of the ages now. What do you think of the rules of this first stage? This. Ing Zhantian was a little hesitant, but he still braced himself and said. The ancient giant's words about luck are too illusory, making people unable to grasp it in their hands. Ha ha ha, that's not true. Luck can also be seen and touched. For example, 20 years ago, when you fought with the mutated demon emperor, if it weren't for your luck, I'm afraid that your corpse would have been cold by now. Why don't you believe in fate now? The ancient giant said with certainty. Yes, I admit that luck is one aspect, but that battle was also because I had enough foundation and strength, so I could escape. Otherwise, luck alone would not be able to escape bad luck. Ing Zhantian slightly argued. The ancient giant did not take offense, but instead smiled in agreement. Yes, luck and strength, both cannot be lacking. If you only have strength without luck, your life will be a waste. If you only have luck without strength, it will be a reckless waste of resources. Thus, this first stage is a comprehensive test of strength and luck. Crossing the tunnel, crossing the mountain, and they actually said that this is a comprehensive test of strength and luck? Could it be that there really is a ferocious creature hidden in the tunnel? Is there going to be a fierce battle? Hearing this, Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat. In the first tunnel, there is only one, the Zhuangkong Great Path. Once you choose this path, everything will be smooth sailing. You will be able to pass through this divine mountain and pass the first trial, explained the ancient giant. However, there is only one Zhuangkong Great Path. If you choose this tunnel, it will be good luck. Conversely, there is also a bad luck. In Tunnel 1, you will meet me in one of them. Yes, you must defeat me in order to pass. That is the worst luck. Hiss. The participants all gasped. One of the passageways would actually lead to an ancient giant. Moreover, you must defeat him in order to pass. However, everyone understood that to defeat this ancient giant was no different from a fool's dream. That was something that was completely impossible. Even if the ancient giant only defended and did not attack, it was impossible for him to pass. The worst luck, to encounter the ancient giant, is the same as being eliminated. This is probably the worst choice. Zhuge Xing, who was ranked 1811th on the monster ranking, laughed at himself. I hope my luck is not that bad. Once you encounter me, don't hope that I will go easy on you. I will not go easy on you. If you want to pass through here, you'll have to defeat me in a real fight, the ancient giant said without any hesitation. Defeat you? I don't think anyone here dares to fight you. Xiaofan licked his lips. Then, one of the best luck, one of the worst luck, and the remaining tunnel. These tunnels will intersect in pairs and converge in pairs. In other words, if you give up the tunnel that leads you to pass and the tunnel that leads you to meet me, the remaining 11 tunnels, no matter what you choose, you will meet an opponent. Only the courageous will win. Out of the 14 participants, only one will pass. The ancient giant squinted his eyes. In the first tunnel, only one can reach the other side and see the beautiful scenery outside of this mountain. Now, do you understand the rules? Everyone nodded. Understood everything. One of them was a straight path, and there was no danger. The other was a dead end, and if one encountered an ancient powerhouse, they would lose without a doubt. As for the remaining path, the 14 contestants would meet in pairs, and they would fight to the death. The winner would pass, and the loser would have to return home. Indeed, what the ancient giant said was not wrong. This first trial was a double test of luck and combat ability. Not a single one could be missing. Okay, the 16 of you, make your choice. Don't take any chances, and don't release your mind power to probe every tunnel, because no matter what, you will not find any clues. Before you enter the first tunnel, it will be exactly the same to you, without the slightest clue or abnormality. Choose as you please. The ancient giant clapped his hands. The first trial begins now. The 16 participants looked at each other, then at the 16 glistening tunnels. Forget it. I choose first. You'd better pray that you don't meet me. Ingzhantian gritted his teeth and moved, entering one of the tunnels. As soon as he entered the cave, the entrance was sealed, preventing anyone else from entering. There's nothing to wait and see, it's just a gamble of luck. Ha ha ha, interesting, interesting. The Devil Lord of 7 Knights, ranked 1700th on the Hex ranking, also made a random choice. He flashed into a tunnel. The tunnel was sealed. Interesting. Interesting. The Thousand Swords gentleman also turned into a sword light and shot into a tunnel. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the contestants made their choices one after another. In reality, this choice was more of an intuition, a feeling, without any basis. Xiaofan, I wish you good luck. Lu Weiniang smiled sweetly at Xiaofan and also entered a cave. Xiaofan, I don't know if we will meet again. The great Sun crossed his arms and looked at Xiaofan, his eyes filled with killing intent. But I can tell you in advance, if we meet, then, you will die a terrible death. My disciple Huolai, if he is still alive, I'm afraid he will also be a genius. Good, Xiaofan, wait and see. Heavenly Sun Great Sun laughed sinisterly and also chose a cave entrance. Soon, 5 of the 16 entrances had already been sealed, leaving only the final one. Woo, it seems like I don't have any other choice. Xiaofan rubbed his nose and laughed involuntarily. Those guys are really fast. Shaking his head slightly, Xiaofan moved his body and entered the last hole. I don't know who I will meet, or should I say, will I pass directly? Of course, if I am unlucky, I will meet the ancient giant. Chapter 269. The first round of the Monster Hero Ranking Challenge. There were 16 tunnels. 8 of them could pass the test. After the other 15 senior monster heroes had made their choices, Xiaofan jumped into the last tunnel. Buzz, as soon as Xiaofan entered the tunnel, the entrance was sealed by an inexplicable energy wave. A long and serene tunnel extended out in a straight line, like the mouth of a monster. No one knew where it led to. No one knew what dangers or adventures were waiting for Xiaofan. Everything seemed very mysterious. Well, I'll just take things as they come. Don't think too much, just move forward. As long as I don't encounter that ancient giant, I may be able to pass this test. I'm not afraid of those senior monster heroes. I can fight them. Xiaofan walked forward step by step and went deep into the tunnel. This tunnel didn't seem dark, it was filled with light. On the uneven mountain wall, there were many dripping stalactites, and a large number of glowing vines and glowing algae. This caused the passageway to be filled with a myriad of colors. It was strange and dazzling, and it even seemed extremely gorgeous. It was as beautiful as a dream. But it was very sad and lifeless. The atmosphere was terrifying. As Xiaofan walked, his spirit was highly condensed. He could see and listen in all directions, without any distractions. If something went wrong, he would attack violently. However, after walking for more than an hour, there was no movement at all. The tunnel was as quiet as a tomb and a ghostly place. And it gave Xiaofan an illusion that there was no end. He didn't know how long he would have to walk to the end. Even the released spirit waves and true qi can't detect the length of this tunnel. Any true qi and spirit waves, once released to explore, are like clay oxen in the sea. This tunnel is really weird. Xiaofan couldn't help but shake his head. Another tunnel. He said it seriously. This passageway was formed by the intersection of two passageways. At the end of the tunnel, natural light seeped in. There was even a breeze blowing in. That was the exit. In the tunnel, two peerless experts were fighting fiercely. One of them was a young man. Wielding a silver spear in his hand, his battle intent surged. His spear technique was invincible, and the tip of his spear condensed a great destructive power that could destroy everything. Death of ghosts and gods. However, this spear-wielding young man's opponent was a sword cultivator. He was the 1,000-sword gentleman, ranked 1,788th on the monster ranking list. One sword, 1,000 kills. With a single thought, the 1,000 swords Lang Jun could send out 1,000 strands of sword qi. Each strand of sword qi was covered in sword qi. Turtles, snakes, dragons, and tigers coiled around them. They swayed continuously, mighty and majestic like 1,000 long rivers. Clang! 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 The spear-wielding youth swung his spear in a circle, blocking the sword qi. He blocked 1,000 swords. The 1,000-sword Lang Jun truly lives up to his reputation. Not only was he within arm's reach of the symbol transformation realm, what was even more terrifying was his battle prowess. Sword cultivators were truly worthy of being called the martial artists with the strongest attack power. They were too incisive and could kill 1,000 people with a single sword. Each sword was faster and more powerful than the last. Each sword contained the arc of the Great Tao. However, I, Hua Shaolin, have not spent all these years painstakingly cultivating in vain. It won't be easy for you to get past me if I can block your ultimate killing technique, 1,000-sword Lang Jun. What? Why is this happening? I clearly blocked 1,000 of your swords, this. Shockingly, a horrifying sword mark suddenly appeared on the spear-wielding young man's chest, and fresh blood immediately sprayed out violently. In an instant, the sword qi had seeped into his body and was attacking and destroying his internal organs. Clang! The spear fell to the ground. Where did this sword come from? Why? Ha ha ha. If I go back and practice for another 5 years, I might have the chance to clearly see how my 1,001 swords were executed. Alright, enough nonsense. The 1,000-sword gentleman, have passed. The 1,000-sword gentleman kept his sword and stepped on the path that led to the outside of the mountain. Bang! Zhuge Xing, who was ranked 1,811th on the devilish hero ranking, struck out with a palm that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. It was so powerful that it could swallow the mountains and rivers. It sent a tall and slender woman flying. The woman spat out a mouthful of blood and lay on the ground. Her pretty face was pale. Luo Fanghua, thank you for letting me win. Although your ranking is below 2,000, the combat strength you displayed really surprised me. It forced me to use all my strength to injure you. But it doesn't matter. Your injury is not serious. You just need to rest for a few hours and you will be fine. Zhuge Xing smiled calmly. He moved his body and immediately stepped on the path that led to the outside of the mountain. My luck is not bad. I met an opponent that I can deal with. I have successfully passed the first stage. Zhuge Xing's voice came faintly. Luo Fanghua clenched her teeth and her heart was filled with hatred. Boom! In the blazing sun above the great Sun Emperor's head, the peerless deity suddenly reached out a palm. On this palm, flames shot up to the sky, creating a flaming storm. The aura that could burn the mountains and boil the seas swept out. All right, all right. Great Sun Emperor, you are strong. I will not fight with you anymore. You can go over. Your combat strength is too strong. If you did not meet Ing Zhantian, you would naturally get the 1650th position. A skinny man moved nimbly and narrowly dodged the attack of the Great Sun Emperor. He was sweating profusely and admitted defeat. Humph. The Great Sun Emperor retracted his attack and sneered. At least you know what's good for you. If you continue to resist, I will beat you until you are hovering between life and death. But what a pity that I did not meet Xiaofan. No matter, let's see if Xiaofan can pass this stage and reach the second stage. I still have a chance to deal with him. The Great Sun Emperor placed his hands behind his back and proudly stepped on the path that led to the outside of the mountain. He was full of vigor, like a victorious general. In a tunnel. Ha 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 ha. Mantis trying to stop a chariot, get lost. Ing Zhantian's arrogant voice rang out. One could only see Ing Zhantian's body surging with true qi. Above his head, a talisman floated. This talisman looked like it was made of jade. The talisman was as large as an acre, and it was surrounded by auspicious clouds. Colorful lights radiated from it, and the talisman was like a dazzling starry sky. It flickered incessantly, and no one dared to look at it. In the depths of the talisman vaguely, one could see a small person chanting scriptures. The voice of the great Tao was singing. Furthermore, some of the small people were punching and kicking. Some were practicing profound martial arts, some were wielding their sabers and swords, and some were forming complicated hand seals, true qi transformed into talismans. This was a genuine talisman transformation realm. You acupoint expansion realm people will never understand the difference between acupoint expansion and talisman transformation. A higher official can crush others to death. Even without me making a move, I can suppress you until you can't speak. Get lost. Ing Zhantian let out a muffled roar. His opponent was a man with a jade-like face. Even his soul was shaken. He spat out a mouthful of hot blood. His whole body went limp and weak, and he was thrown away, lost. Talisman transformation realm is indeed extraordinary. Ing Zhantian, this time's devil hero ranking competition. No one is a match for you. You will definitely win. I am so unlucky to meet a ruthless person like you. I admit defeat. However, I have gained many benefits from being able to face a talisman transformation realm expert. It is greatly beneficial for me to transform my true qi into talismans. In the tunnel where Xiaofan was. No way. I've been walking for more than 2 hours, and I still can't get out of this tunnel? At this moment, Xiaofan thought to himself. At this moment, Xiaofan felt a little anxious. Not only could he not get out of this tunnel, but he also did not encounter any opponents. Xiaofan seemed to be trapped in a maze, unable to extricate himself. However, once he entered this tunnel, he couldn't stop, and he couldn't turn back. There was no turning back. He continued forward. As he walked, a turn appeared in front of him. Xiaofan was slightly taken aback. Soon after, he did not think too much about it. With a turn of his body, he followed the turn and walked over. Just as he turned a corner, Xiaofan's figure suddenly stopped. His eyes were filled with horror. All the blood in his body seemed to freeze. He saw that at the end of the turn, which was about 100 zhang away from Xiaofan, there was a tall figure standing there. This person had his hands behind his back, facing Xiaofan, and did not move at all. Around his body, endless airflow was collapsing and twisting. Strands of immortal qi sprang out from all over his body. The immortal qi intertwined and formed immortal dragons. This person was bathed in a kind of heavenly divine light. With a slight movement of his body, immortal lotuses bloomed everywhere, immortal swords flew everywhere, and immortal mountains were everywhere. Above his head, the immortal chi was the most vigorous, as if he had communicated with an immortal kingdom and the immortal realm. It seemed that some immortal was about to come out of this immortal realm and descend the rules. It was the immortal emperor. Just by showing Xiaofan his back, Xiaofan felt that he was invulnerable and undefeatable, as if everything was under his control. Xiaofan's blood cooled down. I'm so unlucky. Why did this happen? I've bumped into an immortal emperor. This is the so-called worst draw. Among the 16 paths, only one of them has a chance of bumping into an immortal emperor, but I happen to bump into him. Is my luck really that weak? Why did I bump into him when there's only a 1 in 16 chance? What should I do now? Do I really have to fight this immortal emperor? All kinds of thoughts came one after another, causing Xiaofan's mind to be in a mess. Unfortunately, you've bumped into me. Now, I'll give you 2 choices. You can move forward and try to fight me. If you don't have the guts, then give up on the trial and go back. The immortal emperor did not turn around. However, his deep and desolate voice, like that of an ancient immortal emperor, echoed throughout the entire path. Hong 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 hong, the entire path trembled because of the immortal emperor's voice. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.